Yo, 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 everybody, welcome. It is Wednesday, March 1st. I appreciate you here with me on the Trigger Mike Show on the Lapeef Network. Hopefully, everybody had a great commute. For some of you, it's afternoon, it's lunchtime. So I'm glad I got you tune into this part of the festivities. So I want to appreciate you for your patronage. For those of you who are wondering why my shirt is so white, I just have a excellent regimen. What I advise you to do is get that good old 3 tier hamper thing. Can't just have one hamper. Got to have the one that's in threes. You're going to separate your whites, your lights, and your darks. For all my military people to learn how to do laundry in the military, say what's up. Can I get a can I get the roll call, a hoo-yah, hoorah, hoo? All right, well, you learn how to do laundry and keep your whites white, like Trigger Mike. This thing is bright, boy, I tell you. You only wash those together. You do your whites by themselves. You do your lights by themselves. And you do your darks by themselves. For the whites, don't use regular detergent. That OxyClean. Get that OxyClean, okay? Some of your old shirts will look brand new. All right. Well, if you know how to do laundry and you a man that take pride in your appearance, let me know something in the chat. But back to the topic. Welcome to the Trigger Mike Show. Very excited to have y'all today on what is another glorious Wednesday. All right. So salute to my viewers everywhere, my viewers nationwide, West Coast, Southwest, Midwest, East Coast, Deep South, ATL, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Tallahassee, Fort Myers, Orlando, South Carolina, North Carolina, all my Charlotte people, Raleigh, Durham, I see you. Got my cousins out in Fayetteville, my boy out in Fort Bragg, my good friend out in Fort Bragg, all my people holding it down out there. Of course, where I'm from, VA 757. What's up? All right. How y'all doing? Got my people in the DMV. What's up? What's good, Mo? What up with you? All right. All my Philly people, my New Yorkers, where my wife is from. All right. Nicki Minaj neighborhood, where they punch niggas in the throat. I'm joking. I know I'm not. I'm not joking. But yeah, welcome, man. Thank you to everybody and all my international viewers. Of course, I'm based here in Houston, so got to give a shout out to the H Town. H Town. All my uh New Orleans people. What's up? All right, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. What's going on? All my LA people as well. Hopefully you tuning in, getting ready for work. I want to hear y'all and see what y'all got to say. And welcome to the Trigger Mike Show. Remember, those of you who are notorious for not hitting that like button, please hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. No, Black, my wife is from Queens, not Philly. She is from Queens. Hit that like button. All right. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the show and the channel. Should subscribe to the Lapeef Network. All right. If you can, we love for people to participate in this discussion via super chat. If you can show your support and you have something to spare, if you want to get in and have your super chats read and talk about this stuff, please support via super chat. But if you can't do that, I have something you can do right now. Go ahead and share this out. Share this out to your Instagram chat, your Facebook news feed, your TikTok, your WhatsApp, your GroupMe. Hit the share button. Don't leave the stream, but hit the share button and let people know this is what you're watching this morning and how they can tune in. All right. Welcome. Welcome. Let's see who I got in the chat. Who do I got in the chat this morning? Oh, y'all live. Snuggles, what's going on? Hey, Bathshua, how you doing? I would actually like for you, if you got time, come on up and talk to me about this topic right here. On the Trigger Mike Show, The woman's perspective is always welcome, and we need it for balance. So we appreciate any woman that wants to come up and share her experience. Buck Rogers, what's going on? The Most High. Let me find out Jesus in my chat. Jordan, what's going on? Lindora Lint, what's up? What's up? The Big Reality, what's going on? Dolomite, what's up? Empress Vibe, how you doing? Carlton Epps, my man Moses in the chat. Black is in the chat. Demetrius Carter, what's up? Hidden Gems, what's going on from DFW? Tanasia, how you doing? Tanasia repping that Texas. 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 Oh man, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of funny that me and my wife are from the East Coast. All right, I'm originally from New York, raised in Virginia. We're both from the East Coast, and our children are Texans. My daughter gonna be like, "I'm from Texas." It's still it's messing with my head. That's gonna be funny. All right, Demetrius Carter, I see you. I know the shirt is bright. I'm looking into getting a better webcam. I want to know if I need to get a DSLR or just one of these high resolution revolving little webcam things. Y'all let me know. If you're a tech person and you want to recommend a new camera to trigger mic, let me know in the chat so I can hit somebody up and get a free camera out of them. Not you. I'm talking about a sponsorship. All right, all right. Who else we got? Daryl Brown, what's going on? My man Fatty's in the building. Always got good dialogue. Come up and chat with your boy. All right. My man Zeke, what's up? What's up? Welcome. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. We got people in the building on this topic today. This topic just kind of came to me. I like bringing up topics that the chat and the panelists kind of glance over in our dialogue every once in a while. And I thought about this and I was like, "Ooh, this is a good one." She wants the wedding, not the marriage. I've heard it. I've only been doing this show for about a month now, a little over a month. And I've heard men and women use this phrase, this statement. I've heard this statement made quite a bit. She wants the wedding, not the marriage. Now, this is not going to be the longest monologue ever because I actually want to chat with y'all. I want to get y'all opinion on this. Okay, so this is a popular statement. And I believe of course, it's speaking to women that are not prepared for marriage. So we're going to come at this from a different angle. This is not actually about weddings. Sorry if I bursted your bubble there. I had a fantastic wedding. In fact, I'll make a topic and I'll put up a picture of my beautiful wife on our wedding day. But this is not about weddings. In fact, if you want to see, we're going to do an episode on how much the wedding should cost because I know that is a huge topic for debate. If y'all want to do that one tomorrow on all these ridiculous ass requests that these women are making for how much you should spend on a wedding, if y'all want to do that one tomorrow, let me know. Let me know if y'all want to do how much the wedding should cost tomorrow. All right. So I'm beginning to think that modern women do not understand what marriage is about. Ladies, I don't think you understand what marriage is about. And not to say that modern men actually understand. But remember, this is y'all thing. If it was really up to men, if we could get the cow without buying the milk, we would do it. This is y'all thing. This is what women want. Women want marriage. This is what y'all want. So this is why I'm addressing you. I do not think the modern women understand what marriage is about. Here's why I make that statement. Hear me out on this. Ladies, I know I'm not trying to trigger you, but hear me out on this. I hear more women talk about the husband they want. I hear more women talk about the wedding they want. But why do I not hear any women, virtually any women, talking about the type of wife they want to be? If you can relate to that, let me know in the chat. I hear you talk about the type of husband you want all day. It's all up on YouTube, all up on Instagram. I hear you talking about the type of wedding and how much it's going to cost and all the extravagant gifts and all of the registries and the honeymoon. I rarely hear you talk about the type of wife you're going to be, what kind of service you're going to provide. Rarely ever hear any woman lead with that. So it just begs the question, obviously, right? Do modern women and men even understand the difficulty of marriage? Y'all playing around with this institution, man. Y'all playing around with it. All right. So again, I'm addressing women because marriage is your favorite subject. And you leave the marriages most of the time. Marriage is your favorite subject, and women leave marriages on average 70 to 80% of the time. This is your subject completely. For some women, I believe marriage is just a checkpoint activity. It's just a checkpoint, a box to check off of your list of things to do. If you agree with that, let me know. Men, if you feel like women are not invested, not really, not in the way you thought they would be, not in the way you intended. Maybe you out here looking for marriage and you just like the way she put herself together. You like the way she carry herself. But once you progress the relationship, you realize, is this a thing to you? Do you believe this is something you need to serve in, or is it something that is supposed to serve you? You don't even understand the difficulty of marriage because you're not thinking about your service to it, only what you can get out of it. For some women, marriage is just a checkpoint activity, a box to check. Why is this such a toxic and dangerous outlook for women to have and the men that have it? I'm going to be real with you. This is another reason we're not going to talk to men on this subject, because men hold so much risk in getting married to you that it's very hard to fathom a man using marriage as a checkpoint activity. Because as you can clearly see, if we don't have to do it, we won't. Men are perfectly fine getting all the milk without buying the cow. Perfectly fine with it. This is an extremely toxic and dangerous outlook to have. Here is why. Marriages usually involve children. So if marriage is just a checkpoint for you, if it's just a box to check, you're basically saying, let me just ruin all these lives along the way. Not only the life of the person that I married, but the lives of the people I'm going to create. This is just a checkpoint for me so I can join the club. You know that's a thing, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you know the marriage club is a thing. If you know the motherhood club is a thing. People out here having babies and getting married just to join the club. This is not a game. You have service and duty to the club. You just wanted to be involved in conversations. you weren't allowed in before. That's not an excuse to go ahead and bring a life in this world or go ahead and fake like you want to be of service in a relationship under God. It's not a good enough excuse just because you want to be in the club. You're better off alone. I'm not going to say buy a dog, but you know the expression already. Fellas, I need to tell you something. And let me drop the link because I told you this monologue is going to be pretty short. And I want to holler at my people. Let me drop this link. I can come on up, sit in the back for just a little bit. Fellas, why is it important that you avoid women like this? I want to talk to my brothers. All my brothers that's been married and might try it again. All my young brothers who are thinking about it. For these women that think these dudes ain't thinking about marriage, you're crazy. Married men, we got a certain look. We got a certain shine to us. And you're crazy if you think young men don't want that. There are things they're not telling you, but they want it with the right woman. They'll do it. So I want to tell the brothers why it's important to avoid women like this. Fellas, there are too many single women out here. Let me tell you what that means and why this is dangerous. My young brothers, 20 to 35 years old, you got to be on your P's and Q's. If you are unmarried, you better watch yourself. In fact, I'll say 20 to 30 because most of you, that's that zone. You're either going to meet the person you're going to marry or you be married before you go into your 30s. There are too many single women out here. Do you know what that means? And I'm sure some of you will agree with this and some of you will disagree. That means that there are way too many chameleons out here. The clock is ticking for these women. We are about to have the greatest amount of single women at any point in human history. By 2030, half of all women in the United States of America will be single. That means they have incentive to be chameleons, to pretend like there's something they're not in order to get married. That is a dangerous zone for single men. Don't listen to what they say on YouTube. Don't listen to Instagram. Watch them. Watch their desperation. Once they realize that clock, that time is ticking, it will change them into someone that just needs to get married, not wants to serve in a marriage. If you're a man that can tell a difference, if you feel like you got it like that, and you feel like you can tell the difference between a woman that wants to serve in a marriage and a woman that just needs to get married, let me know in the chat. That's grown man shit right there. That's grown man shit. These are conversations you need to be having. What do you want from this? I understand that if I'm not being used, I'm useless, but I need you to be of service. The only way you get to use a man like me is if you are a woman of service. Use me. That's what I'm here for. But God, I'll be God damn if I ain't using you too. You need to marry a woman of service, duty, structure. These chameleons will need to get married. That's dangerous territory for you. Fellas, please understand. I'm trying to help you out. If you believe, because nobody's calling it like this, we already know we have a single mother epidemic. Now we have a singles epidemic, whether people have kids or not. If you believe that this is a crisis as bad as the pandemic. Put a one in the chat. I think this is worse. I think this is worse than the virus. The singles crisis is worse than the Rona. I believe it is, because it's going to affect you way longer. This can affect generations, because people are still putting kids on this world, whether they're married or not. They are creating cycles of poverty, generational curses, as we like to call them in this space, right? This is worse than the Rona. The singles crisis will crash an entire continent. It will crash an entire economy. Let one thing go wrong. People ain't meant to be split up like that. We're not meant to be divided. Anybody that's ever read one social studies book, one chapter, understands there is weakness in that type of division. Y'all got it screwed up. Fellas, before y'all come up, drop that link again. Here's how you spot a woman who just wants the wedding. Here's how you spot her. Here are the characteristics of a woman who just wants the wedding. The chameleon that I'm talking about. This woman is career oriented. And let me not just say like a woman who's into her career and has a good career. That's not what I'm saying. What I mean by career oriented, and I want you to watch closely. This woman will talk more about the career she wants to nurture than the family she wants to nurture. It's that simple. When you're ready to talk about the family y'all spoke about creating, she's still talking about her career. Her job on this earth was to help you create and nurture your family. She only wants to nurture the things she created, her own career, her own aspirations and ambitions. That's that chameleon in waiting. Some women let you know this in the dating process. If you don't pick this up, it's your fault. Fellas, it's your fault. If you don't pick this up, it's your fault. She's too career oriented. All she talks about is her career. Once she got the ring, no more mention of family. She keeps putting it off. She keeps delaying it. One more year here. I just need to get this promotion over there. When she is putting too much emphasis on things she can't control and holding it against you, you know you got a crisis on your hands. That is a chameleon that's waiting to change her spots. The other characteristic of a woman who just wants the wedding. This woman is overly ambitious. I know I just triggered some of y'all. Let me explain. Another characteristic of a woman that just wants the wedding. This woman is overly ambitious. Can I explain this to you? If you know where I'm going with this, guess in the chat. What does overly ambitious mean for women? What are some characteristics and some behaviors that overly ambitious women exhibit? I'm going to wait. I want to see if somebody's going to be able to guess what I'm about to say, because y'all love this word, and I'm going to show y'all why y'all using it wrong. Y'all love this word, ambition. Y'all love it. Listen, an overly ambitious woman or man is bad in a relationship. It's bad for the union. Let me explain why. All ambition is evil. I stopped calling myself ambitious a long time ago. I am the consummate example of what Western society calls an ambitious male. I stopped calling myself that a very long time ago, and I'll explain that to you in detail. Fellas, You want a woman driven by her purpose, not her ambition. Let me just go into this, man. Her ambition, her ambition will make her think she can negotiate everything. Her ambition will make her choose her job over your family. Her ambition will make her think she can leave and take your kids so she doesn't have to negotiate with you anymore. All ambition is evil. An ambitious woman will create the life she wants with or without you. A purpose driven woman will keep you in her purpose. She understands her purpose is to serve with you, to serve you, to serve the marriage, to serve the children. You want a purpose driven woman. I am a purpose driven man. My ambition can make me neglect my family. My ambition can make me take a job out of state while my family still lives in Texas. I am a purpose driven man. No longer am I describing myself as an ambitious man. Don't let your woman describe herself as an ambitious woman. All ambition is evil. Your ambition is why your family don't like you no more. Your ambition is why you fell out with all your friends. Your ambition is why you and your sister was fighting over that man. This can manifest itself in all different types of ways. We can't even have a show long enough to tell you all of the trials and errors and mistakes that ambitious women make. Ooh, I like this one. Go ahead, Vintage. Ambitious women compete with their man. I don't want no damn ambitious woman. I want a purposeful woman, a purpose driven woman. When you understand your purpose, you have a drive for life. Ambition makes you think everything is serendipity. Just because you got an opportunity that you should take it. Y'all be like, God spoke to me. Y'all know the devil can speak too, right? Put a one in the chat if you know the devil can talk too. God spoke to me. Jesus put this in front of me. The devil put that in front of you. I know I triggered y'all because y'all love that word ambition. I'm going to get it out of your head if it's the last thing I do. All right, the last thing. A characteristic of a woman that just wants the wedding. She is too superficial. She is extremely superficial. The women of today, unfortunately, most of the women I know are extremely superficial. I don't know a man, not one friend, that picked a woman because she was superficial. Not one. Not one. Just like my mom used to say to my sister when she went through that phase where she wanted designer everything, the most expensive everything when we were teenagers. Uh-uh. Everything is for show. I'm going to clip this and send it to my mom. Everything is for show. You can't even do it unless you do the hands and the lips. Uh-uh. Everything is for show. Hey. Everything is for show with this woman. The wedding is for show. The baby shower is for show. The birth of the baby was for show. The new job was for show. The promotion was for show. The new car was for show. That house that she made y'all buy, that made y'all house poor, was for show. It ain't even about y'all. It's just to show other people. Everything with this woman is for show. You can't win with her. It's all about her. You have no idea with this woman which way is up. You can't please her. She's never satisfied because everything is for show. The next person who one-ups her, she's going to want to get one back. And the world has figured out a masterful way to market all of this to this woman. Showing off for people who don't like you. My man Trey said, hope to see you up here today. All right, it's panel time. Bring my man and my man King Spark up. What's going on? Good morning, fellas, or good afternoon, rather.
Good morning. What's the deal today?
All right, Moses, what you got on the topic?
Yeah, this topic right here is so true. I think I mentioned it briefly in my past time on the panel that I went through a divorce with the situation. Only 7 months married, but thank God, no kids. I barely got out unscathed. You know what I'm saying? But this topic really hits home for me because it's a good topic because that mindset of knowing somebody before you choose them is such a big deal. Like if you just want to be married to a man and not see the bigger picture, that problem is never talked about because they always assuming it's the marriage, but not it's about the wedding, not the marriage. And because of that, it's a fantasy. It's more of a fantasy than picking somebody based on what are you trying to build with this person when you till you're old. It's like that's the mindset men are thinking about more than the women. Unfortunately, they're taught this through Disney, you know what I'm saying? The princess stories, the movies of the queens and the kings and all that stuff. And it's like if you want that life as a woman that's married, you have to understand it's more than just being married. It's building through the good and the bad, like the vow said, through thick and thin, through better or worse. You can't just be married because it's a title now. It's not even about the story about building through the adversity to be that story that said, hey, I had a marriage for several years and we still didn't give up on each other. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. King Spark, good morning. Good afternoon.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. See, this is why I believe, and people probably ain't gonna like this. This is why I believe in shacking up. This is why I believe in marital boot camp. Okay, you know how boot camp you go, they shave your head. When you meet your woman, you tell her, snatch that weave off, pluck them eyelashes off, and we gonna get down to the nitty gritty and press her ass all the way out. Washing clothes, everything that you want out the marriage, you press her ass all the way out. Have her back that cow on up. You taste that milk, make sure that milk tastes good, make sure it's the right temperature, make sure it's the right quality. And then if you're a gentleman, you go ahead and buy that cow. That's all I got.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Rich, good morning. What you
Hey,
got on the
gentlemen, how you
topic?
guys doing? Um,
All
you
right.
know, again, I think I have like an unfair advantage, man, because my in-laws paid for my wedding. You
Ooh.
know, they paid for the whole thing, but we kept it within reasonable stuff. But it was pretty glamorous, but it wasn't over the top. You know, um, but since my wife was traditional, and it wasn't about just the wedding. I mean, it was about the marriage, right? And I only vetted her for like it was a year and a half. We got engaged for 5 months, and then the rest of it was planning for the wedding and what we were going to do in the future. But a lot of women today, yeah, it's the wedding. I mean, there was a Just Pearly Things had a woman she was interviewing. She wanted a $200,000 ring. $200,000 ring.
The black chick, yeah, I know you're talking
Yeah, man,
about.
it was, and she was
Crazy.
so out of touch with reality. She didn't know how stupid she sounded. And she ain't even look that good, god dang it. You know, you know what I'm saying? So, but I don't know where people are coming from, but it's not the wedding. It's what happens afterwards. But we had a good time. I told my best man, and I'm gonna get off of it right here. I told my best man, listen, all night long. So I said, you see these two things in front of here? Just don't let that shit wrinkle. All night long, take care of everything. I don't want to see that wrinkle. Just don't let that wrinkle. He took care of everything for me. I had a great time, but I can see how people get wrapped up with that.
So I just looked up 200K ring, Just Pearly Things. What the hell make this woman think Her ring should cost $2,000.
Hey, fantasies, man. Fantasies. That's
This
all it
shit is
is,
that
man.
serious,
Girl,
man.
well, you know what? Forget this, man, because it's about to be fire on all these women, man. What the heck? This woman might not even get K Jewelers, bro. She might get the what's that counter at the mall? She might get the what's the yeah,
Zubik,
she might
Zubik,
get the counter
Zub,
ring.
the Zubik Zirconian.
She might get the mall kiosk.
Yeah, the
You know,
kiosk.
Mike.
Yeah.
You know, Mike. That's why you gotta shit test them too, man. You gotta before you make that decision, you gotta run stuff like that by him. Like, you gotta pose a question like, "Well, baby, would you rather me wait to get a big ring, or would you want us to come on with the marriage? Would you rather us have a big wedding, or wait 2 years so we can have an extravagant wedding, or would you go to the courthouse just to see her reaction on them type of things?"
That's too
Listen,
easy,
man,
though, man. I don't know. That's too easy.
man.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by too easy?
Well, we talking about them getting tested by that, but the problem is they all hearing these conversations every day. They're gonna adapt to the conversation and tell us what we want to hear. That's the thing now. So they hear these stories about women getting these big houses and rings that they don't want to lose that fantasy. They want to go for what makes sense to them. That's not realistic because most of them never had that in their life. They want to start over with that. You know what I'm saying?
All right, got you.
Well, then you gotta ask him why. Why do you deserve that? I mean, what do you really like? Why do you deserve? What's the difference? Because my thing is that if you ask all these women, they all believe they deserve the same damn thing, and just that can't be right. Just right there. How can
That's
all of
true.
y'all deserve the same damn thing?
Well, you know,
Yeah,
this
true.
Like,
True.
how's
what
that
it
possible?
is listen, the modern woman is more academically she's more academically smart, I guess, or academically capable than older women that came before her. But the one area they fall short on insight is have you ever, women, this is to you, this statement is for you. Have you ever decided to be bothered with how these women even came to have what they have? I understand what you want. I see, I mean, men do the same thing. I just told you, young men see married men and all that they accomplish and that whole family together and that big ass Cadillac after church. You know, they a little older, they're a little gray, they got some time in, they got some equity in a home. Have you ever decided to concern yourself with how that woman accomplished that and what she sacrificed to make that happen? I don't even get why this isn't the bigger part of the discussion. How about we stop talking about what you want and start talking about how to acquire it? Like literally, they're just out here making demands. These women put in serious work. You're looking at what's almost a finished product, not the beginning. Very few. It's like 1% of 1%. You looking at the people we shouldn't even have access to, which are NBA players' wives.
but
Not
but
even knowing
Mike,
that these women got to put up with stuff you wouldn't even accept. She done found
but
videos of it in his phone of him doing God knows what to three hookers, and she can't say nothing, or she gonna lose that big ass house. But y'all not even concerning yourself with how the average woman gets to go from middle class to upper middle class. You're not even understanding what kind of work you got to put in to make that happen. I think it's deplorable. What y'all got to say?
I mean, I think you're right in a lot of areas, but I think with the today's times with the social media era, it's pretty much plaguing a lot of minds, especially the ones that don't know the word. They think it's just instant gratification where it's showing so much online, and they don't even think about the process how it's gonna hurt to get there. Like I'm not saying just hurt physically, but it's a physical like it's gonna be mentally a challenge to stay on top of yourself to know I'm keeping my family together for the better outcome, and it's all about growing the next generation to do better than me. It's never thought about. It's more so what can I get now while I feel good for the moment, with the experience versus the pleasure of my family looking at me. I have all these 20 grandkids around me. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Got you. Let me post this link real quick. All right. Well, my man Lou. Lou, what's going on? You there?
What's going on, Trigger? I'm here. Can you
All
hear
right.
me?
What you got? What are your opening thoughts on the topic?
Um, there's a lot to say here, but I think that see the problem with what you explained as I was working out and listening is that you explained the nature of women
Hmm.
and the issues that a relationship, for the most part, is a battle between what you want to do and what you should do for the greater cause of a goal or some sort of end goal that you would like to achieve. And asking women, especially nowadays with Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and all the social medias, asking women for delayed gratification,
Hmm.
it's asinine, right? Because why would they delay the gratification that they can obtain immediately for you or anybody else, for that matter? Um, so there are all sorts of problems, especially in marriages, due to the fact that they can get away unscathed, right? The contract of marriage does not, it allows women to get away not only unscathed, but for the most part women get out of these relationships and or marriages better than when they came in, because we know that they can take your stuff. We know that a lot of these prenuptial agreements a lot of times don't hold up in court. We know that if you buy a house with a woman, even though you make more money, and that money that you make is the greater qualifying ratio when it comes to that situation, we know that she's gonna keep it anyway. So I just don't understand why we don't just accept that they are who they are, and they are most likely not willing to change for anybody.
Well, so here's where I disagree a little bit, Lou. So what you described, I believe, is what women think. So everything you said is actually, it hasn't been proven yet. It's just the common narrative right now. But I'm gonna give you one of my thoughts on it. And this is me exercising a little bit of foresight. The need for a man is not erased. It's just delayed. The need for a man is not erased. It's just delayed. Everything they think they can do for themselves, they will not be able to maintain for themselves, nor will they want to. That's the important part of it. Men could have no chance in history of getting women to change if they actually wanted to provide for themselves. Ask any woman, and I'm actually thinking about going to do that on the street, like just using up some of my other daylight hours to just go out and interview people on the street in different neighborhoods, different demographic, socioeconomic status, all of that, and just ask them, can you take care of yourself? What are they going to say? Yes. Would you prefer a man help you? And what do you think their answer is going to be?
Of course, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And that's a good idea, Mike. You
Yes.
should do it.
Would you
But my
prefer? They all of them will prefer a man helping them. The need for a man is not erased; it's just delayed. When they're tired of working, when they're literally coming back to the same empty house in the same monotonous fashion that men can do way longer than they can, if we're being honest. And once a man decides he don't want to suffer that way, he can go get a woman immediately if he's acquired enough resources. Women can't do that. So once they realize it's working against them and to their detriment, we're going to start see, like I said, these chameleon changes where they're going to
mm,
want to be more amicable and more
mm.
agreeable simply because the clock is running out on them. What do you think?
Yeah, but before
um
you, but go ahead, Lou.
no,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, brother, go ahead.
Yeah, only thing, Lou, that you said that I would just disagree with, but I didn't want to. We can get back to what Trigger Mike said, but on the prenups, they work. You just got to do it right.
mm.
You just have to do it right. You have to have a lawyer. She has to have a lawyer, a separate lawyer, by the way. And you gotta then the lawyers will make sure you don't put shit in there that is irresponsible. And you have to do it long before the wedding.
Mm.
And those things hold up. So I know there's a narrative out there that don't work because we have a couple of cases where the woman challenges.
I sure would hope that it works. I could be wrong on that. I don't trust the law or the people that implement the laws, right? Uh,
Well, that's a different
to
story, though. I agree with you there. But
yeah, I
just
don't
like
trust I don't trust the judges.
yeah,
See what
but
I'm
you know what
saying?
I'm saying? The only reason why I even brought it up is because I want men to understand if what's holding you back from getting married is because you're worried about your assets. You do have an insurance policy, and that's called a prenup. And it works. You just got to do it right. And you can't do it like a shotgun wedding. And that's why I told men if you're gonna want a prenup, you got to do it at the time of engagement. When you ask a woman to marry her, it has to be brought up right then and there. Do you want to be my wife? Needs a whole 9 yards. But if we do this, you have to agree to sign a prenup.
I
And if
guess
she says no to either one of them, then the marriage is off. You got to be willing to walk away.
right, right. I
So
guess
let me answer this question really quickly. So Noah Bell says, why can't a man be pro-family and anti-marriage? You can't. If you are trying to do what's best for the children, you need to get married. Straight up. That's it. You
I
need
agree
to
with
do
that.
what's best for the children. That's really why we always make it about the woman. Most men stay because of their children. Period. They're not going to subject them to a worse life. And before any of you say, plenty of people that held it together, and I know the argument for this. People are going to say, well, there are plenty of people that live in the house and they're not married. They don't stay that way. That's why they don't make statistics about them. The people who stay in a house unmarried do not stay at the same address long enough for it to be quantified by a statistic. How do you think a woman is going to behave if she's giving you her all, but yet she goes to all those meetings with her friends without a wedding ring on her finger? Y'all better tighten up and act like you know. It's only so many times she gonna get that side eye from her own mother.
And let me also say, Mike, that there's enough men who have children out there who understand that their sphere of control over the kids that's staying with the woman, is not the way it would be if they were living in the house. I don't care how many men out there, they got kids, and a lot of men do, they don't speak up enough. But every man who wants their kids, and even if they have a decent relationship with the woman, they still don't have the amount of control that they probably would like to have over how the kids being raised and who the woman brings his kids around.
Another
So
thing people like to say on this topic is, well, because I'm gonna say, well, when you declare who your wife is to the government and to the world, everybody knows exactly where your assets are going. And what people say is, oh, you can get all that done. You can get a last will and testament done. I am not even going to look it up. I can guarantee you less than 5% of anyone, especially black men, have their will and testament done. Get out of
hey,
here with that BS.
there's
Get
too
out of
many
here.
guys. There's a lot of
Who
people who are married who
on
don't
this
have it
panel
done.
except Mr. Rich got their will and testament done? I don't got that shit done.
Yo, yeah. Listen,
I ain't never thought about that. Not one time. But I
you
don't have
joking,
to.
right, Mike?
Huh?
You are a joke. Listen,
No, no.
what you just said, you better go get
So
that done.
no, like now that I'm starting to become more responsible and got life insurance and all this type. Like now, I'm like, okay, well, that's what's next. That's the natural progression. But if we look it up right now, in fact, some of y'all in the chat,
Mhm.
I love to redo research. Tell me the amount of people, amount of men, especially since we're talking about men that have their will and testament done by age 40. If you can look it up, it's gonna be so low. So low. If anything happens to you, you just lit a match on your whole family. Your mom and dad coming for either the kids, they coming for your assets and all this type of stuff. Will be in probate for years, mind you. That stuff don't go by quick.
And depending on the country you're in, the government will take it.
Damn.
Exactly.
Oh, the bank takes your money. Did y'all even know that? Oh, the
Yeah,
banks are so
absolutely.
rich because they absorb a significant amount of their assets are absorbed. Not even made through interest. It's absorbed because no, they couldn't declare it to anyone. And after it's written in law, after a certain amount of time, it just becomes theirs. Talk to me about why marriage
They
is
say,
important.
Mike, let me just add real quick. I don't want to get too far off the topic, but just what you just said happened to me. I was talking to this old head when I was at work. I think I might have been around, 40 years old. And he said, "Hey, man," he said, "You got your will done?" Because he was taking care of his parents. And I
Mhm.
said, "No." He said, "Listen, man, me and all the old heads are sitting down there thinking that you're one of the up and coming guys at this place. And you're trying to tell me that you got young kids, your wife, and they're butt naked to the world. You don't got your man. He he tore me a new butthole from the top to the bottom. And it was a long time since an old head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just schooled me. I was in the lawyer's office that week. That way, I grabbed my wife. We went to a lawyer's office that week,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had our will updated twice since then. As the kids got older and things, so you got to have it, man. You just got to have it, because I have so many family members who pass away without it, without without other stuff, and like
So
life insurance. But I don't want to
I,
get too far
I
off the topic.
understand it. So the reason why I think so the circles that I'm frequenting now, like the friends that I have, these are the conversations that come up. So I wasn't even playing when I said I didn't even think about it, because one, I believe that men, first of all, want to acquire some assets first, then you want to protect the assets. So I don't have a prenuptial agreement. Never would have even thought about it, because I'm
Right,
only thinking about the romantic side of it. But now I got children. So if me and my wife do divorce and those assets get split, I'm gonna still have assets. So then I'm gonna be worried about the next woman coming and taking assets from my children. So now
right,
it's like, oh, this makes sense. So naturally, I think the progression is, once men start to acquire assets, you'll be smarter and more um start thinking about how to parse them out to your family and where they should go, so nobody can put up any kind of fight. The only safety net that I have is that I'm married. So, it's already designated through my job. Their name, their socials are on that beneficiary. Woo!
right.
Military stuff going to them. AD&D, accidental death of dismemberment, going to them. So the will is obviously what's next. I got to get that done. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
You are right. All
All
right,
right.
my man Trey, what's going on? What are your opening thoughts on the topic?
What's going on, everybody on the panel? What's going on, Trigger Mike? Hey, look,
How you doing?
I am one of those guys who's pro-family, anti-marriage, and to to me, to me, I I completely disagree with Trigger
My
Mike
bad.
on
It's
this.
just
To me, I can, to me, there's nothing that you can do married that you can't do single. And I do agree with you, Trigger Mike, that a lot of the times these guys aren't doing the proper paperwork. But I think the proper way to handle this, the solution is to teach men to do the paperwork correctly and to
Mhm.
understand that you have to do the paperwork. You have to set your family up. My last relationship, my daughter's mom she was on the DNR. She was a beneficiary on my life
Mhm.
insurance. Even to this day, she doesn't know that she's still the beneficiary because she has my daughter. She doesn't
I
even
wouldn't
know that.
tell her. I wouldn't tell her.
No, no, no. That's why I said she doesn't know.
She
She
might
has
try to
no.
make that happen. All right, bet.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why I didn't tell her. But if you want to take care of somebody, you can take care of somebody. There's a power you can use powers of attorneys. I have a trust. I have, you can assign beneficiaries to your trust. There's ways to do this without actually getting married. I think the issue is that we're not teaching young guys how to properly set up asset protection, how to properly set up the paperwork without getting married first. I think what we're telling them is to go get married because it kind of fixes a lot of the issues of not going to get the paperwork done. But I mean, I'm all for families. I think that is the answer, but I can't say that I'm with the marriage because of today's climate and because of how much the government likes to stick their nose into people's business.
Indeed. So, yeah, you came from a different approach about the pro family style thing. I was talking about more in the way children need to be raised, not necessarily how assets need to be distributed. So, I would think, kind of honestly, if you're not with the mother of your children, you need to be more into that than anybody, right? So, because it's all paperwork after that. Literally everything got to be written. So I understand that completely. All right. I think, did everybody get to speak on this, or anybody wanted to add anything else? All right. So, damn, I didn't load up my next question. I think we've asked this question a few times. I'm going to ask it again in the spirit of what we're talking about today, because women do leave the relationship most of the time. And then we find out she was never, I mean, when you got to listen to what men report. Men won't be truthful. Some of them will be hurt. But when so many men are reporting the same things, because we only listen to women in these spaces, and women love to talk. And here's how I know a lot of women are lying. It's something my mom told me a very long time ago. Watch Try your best. Watch who wants to tell their part of the story first, who's rushing to do it. Women are usually rushing to tell their side of the story first. That means they're trying to control the narrative. That's why the reason I don't trust a lot of women's opinion on why the marriage ended is because they never lead or include where they went wrong in it. I almost never hear that. Why did the marriage end? Well, I hope my marriage is never over. But I'm gonna tell you, if I'm ever explaining why it ended to someone, I just don't find it to be mature to be like, well, she did blank. Like it doesn't look good on you as a person, at least as a man. But women always lead with what he did. Let me let y'all know something. There are two guilty parties in every failed relationship. I was taught that in like sixth or seventh grade. Like, what? How can there be two parties? This is more in referencing to like fighting than something. But two people are responsible. If you really want to be mature, if you really want to grow, you better understand how you are the common denominator in everything bad that happens to you. Two guilty parties in every failed relationship. So, with that said, do modern women understand the duty of a wife? Just as it seems today, the women that come up on this panel, the women that you read in the chat, on the context of what we're talking about, she wants the wedding, not the marriage. Do modern women understand the duty of a wife? Mr. Rich, you go first.
They understand. They just don't agree anymore. Some of them understand, but they don't agree. Right? I mean, so they don't agree that they should be doing that. Because I mean, listen, let's face it. They can't run around talking about how educated they are and all that other horse crap, right? And act like they're, ignorant about what it will take to really be a good wife. They just don't want to do it. Not where when they start using or misrepresenting words like submission into slavery and things of that nature. I mean, so yes, some women don't have it. Some, depending on where they are on the social economic scale, some women don't have a clue. But the worst insidious part of it is a lot of them do, but they just don't want to comply. I think that's worse than ignorance. So because it's willful. And there's a lot of willful women out there. I mean, even married women, they sit down and defend women. You'll find married women telling other women who are single not to get married, right in the face of their husband. I wish my wife would say that. I mean, I'm not going to do anything physical, but I'd let her know about that. But a lot of married women are not no allies. They're not helping. This narrative should have been done long time ago. If married women, even the young ones, just start saying, "Listen, listen, I'm married. I'm having a great time." And so we're seeing some content creators who are married that are women starting to come out in force, saying why it's beneficial to be married. So no, so they know. I think a lot of women do know, but they just don't give a shit. That's my thoughts on that.
King Spark, what you got?
Um, I believe that most women they focus on the benefits of marriage. They have no idea what the duty is for the institution. But I also feel like you have to break it down to your lady, man. You have to actually sit your lady down and tell her what you need from her in
Talking
order
about
for her in order for
talking
her
about
to be your
marriage,
wife.
talking about input.
Who is that? I don't know who that is. Um, yeah, you really gotta sit her down there because I also believe that every man requires probably something a little bit different from his wife, right? So, I mean, I think generally it's kind of the same thing, but I really believe that that's a serious conversation that needs to be had so she understands what she's signing up for, why you're signing her up, and she has to agree to your terms, your specific terms to lead the marriage, first and foremost.
Flex Henry, what's going on, my man?
I'm all right, man. How you doing? I
I'm
had
good. I'm
my
good.
killer Mike patch yesterday, man. I wanted to get in, but I couldn't. I was
Okay. Okay.
I had to take care of it. But yeah, I think a lot of men have unrealistic expectations just as much as the women do. I think all of us here are around 40, give or take a few years. For most black men that are getting married don't have anything. So you can't negotiate for leverage that you don't have. Most of these women are going to take a chance on you, like you're taking a chance on them. So you can't prenup something that you don't have. Now, all of us, if we're divorced and we have assets, it's totally different. Most of the men that are getting married for the first time are not really going into that marriage with anything. So just like the women have to be more sensible about what their expectations are, so do the men. Like for me, I got married when I was 26. We went to the courthouse. We went to 26, 26, 25, 25. Right? Yeah, we went to the courthouse and we saved a lot of money, and that allowed me to buy my first house 27, and bought my second one at 33. Had we tried to break the bank, and my wife been unrealistic, we'd have none of the assets that we have now. We'd have none of the equity. Like we live in the most expensive place to live in the United States in the Bay Area. A huge, huge house. But none of that would have been possible had we not made decisions early. Now, if she happens to want to leave me and get a divorce, I can't talk about her wanting half because she was with me from the start. That would be unrealistic of me as a man to expect her to walk away with nothing. And we've been together for 17. We've been married for 15 years. We've been together for 17.
Look at Trey's face. Look at Trey. He down there hating. Trey
So
said,
you can't hate on this. You can't hate on that.
It's not about
I'm
the
being,
beauty of your wife. It's about the misinformation that you're saying about prenups right now. That's what it's about.
I'm not saying anything about what I'm saying is most black men are going into a marriage without having any of this.
Not
None of
just
it.
black men, most men, period.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
say young.
but that's the
So
point.
we're all black
It's
men
not
here.
about
So I'm not trying.
what you have at the moment. It's not about what
You
you have at the
can't.
moment.
You're being unrealistic. You can't have leverage without having leverage. You can't negotiate without a hostage.
it's not about
It
leverage
doesn't
either.
make any
This
sense.
this 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 is
No woman with common sense is going to do that.
Hey, Trey, let him finish. Then you go next anyway. So let him
Yeah,
finish.
that's what we call bad faith. I can't say, hey, rock with me because in 5 to 10 years I'm gonna make $1 million, but sign this prenup so when you divorce me you don't get nothing. That doesn't make any sense. We gotta be. It has to be fair. I understand that you don't want to get taken to the cleaners now. If you're going into the marriage and you have these assets, you have these things, then you can be like, you know what, I had this before I met you. I need to maintain this after I'm with you, if there is an after. And whatever residuals that I build upon the things that I already have, like my stocks, let's say they increase by 50% by the time my marriage ends, you're not entitled to that. But if I'm going in and I'm not carrying this wagon full of assets, but I want to make sure that when this wagon gets filled with some assets, that you get none of it, that's kind of bad faith. We can't have any type of relationship with bad faith on either side. It's not going to work. It's not going to last because she's going to hold resentment towards you, and she's not going to tell you, and she's going to act on it. And you guys are going to have a whole world of problems. That's all I got to say on it. Let me take it.
the issue here is, and this is why I said earlier that we need to put more education into this. Prenups do not work that way. If you get a prenup, one of the tenements of the prenup is that it has to be fair, or it will be invalidated. The judge will throw it out. So if you happen to come across $10 million on the course of your marriage, the prenup has already stated what percentage of that 10 million she's going to get. She already knows because it has to be fair from the beginning. So when we say these things, like when I hear a lot of men say, well, she's not going to get nothing, that's not how prenups work. She's going to get something because it has to be fair. The only difference is what you're doing is you're taking an old white 70-year-old judge out of the picture. That's all you're doing. You're just saying, listen, judge, we don't need you. In my particular case, I would tell a woman that I would marry, listen, I don't need a judge to tell me how to take care of you. Me and you, we're going to sit down, we're going to hash this out. I'm going to come to the table and I'm going to say, look, this is what I have. I'm bringing everything to the table. These are my assets, what I have and what I don't have. You come to the table, you bring yours, and we will work it out. We'll figure it out. That's all a prenup does. This is no situation where, well, I brought this into the marriage and I'm leaving with this. That's not how prenups work. And I think that's a common misconception. I'm not saying that Flex is saying that, but I think that it's a common misconception amongst black men. They think that prenup means I get to leave with what I came in with. That's not how it works. And we need to understand that. We've got to push that message because a lot of guys don't understand it. To me, you should be getting a prenup regardless of your financial situation, regardless
Wait,
of it, because
so
you have no idea what's going to happen within the next 10 to 20 years. And all this is just a simple understanding between you and your wife and saying, hey, look, if we happen to build a business and that business is worth $50 million, she already knows she's getting 25% of the business off the jump. She knows it from the beginning. We don't have to talk about it. It is what it is. But we have to put this
you the
education out there because
question,
I
bro.
think a lot of guys are afraid of it. Go ahead, Flex. I'm listening.
So you cannot leave with what you came with, 100% on a prenup.
It has to be fair. It has to be
All you
fair. So
got to
you so
do
you
is
so
for
you
you
so
to
you
retain
can't
your
you can't
alpha.
you can't go into a marriage and say, listen, I got this, and this, and then over the course of the marriage, you guys make $10 million, and you want to take because it's your company and you made the money, you want to take all of it and leave. It doesn't work that way. Now, the assets that you guys come in with, like say for instance, she has her house and you have your house, right? And you both agree that she keeps her house, you keep yours, but you both agree to it, so it's fine. But if over the course of that marriage, if you guys build a business and that business has a valuation of 10 million, she's already going to know off top how much of that 10 million she's going to get.
Got it.
All right. Well, damn, Trey kind of went
Yeah,
already.
I'm gonna let him go. Real kudos, man, to you and your woman being in the gym, man. That's a public service announcement for all of us.
It is.
You know,
Hey, hey, I guess I got to do better because my fat ass won't go to the gym with my wife at all. All right,
Gotta start
but
somewhere, man. You gotta start somewhere.
I'm gonna start. No, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start. Um, I'm gonna have to start because yeah, ain't no more excuses. I work from home now. Like the gym,
Oh yeah, come on.
like come on, man. Like I can do some push-ups or something. You know what it is though for me? No excuses, but I always love group exercise. That's why I was such a stud in the Navy. I was at the front. In fact, I was the cadence caller. So I'm running and singing. But boy, without group exercise, I hate working out. I gotta give me a Peloton or something. These knees are delicate now. All right,
You got it.
Moses, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, you
What
hear
you
me?
got on it? Do modern women understand the duty of a wife?
Yes and no. I think there's a miscommunication with that part of a woman. Well, I guess you could say with the modern woman, seeing the way the society's moving. They go with what's popular. I guess what's the cultural trend. I guess the new term now you're saying is the chameleon. It's easy to blend in, but it's not easy to do the work when it's time to show the true colors. I think it's really simple when we're seeing how people choose the sides they're picking based off what sounds good and versus what's good for the long run. But yeah, I don't think they understand it. I think there's a lot of miscommunication about what that is to properly use that term to get with the right person. So I think there's a lot of learning that could be done.
Indeed. Lou, my man.
Um, no, because marriages create families, and families create or elevate society, right? And if you think that the modern woman cares about society or has a duty to anyone else but herself, including the married ones, you are completely insane. So I don't think they care to understand. Not only don't they understand, but I don't think they care to understand because again, it goes back to my original point in the beginning of the conversation. If they can leave the contractual agreement unscathed because everything else protects them, why would they care about anything that comes under that? So it's a cold world out here.
All right, bet. Let me get to these super chats. I appreciate everybody that sent in super chats. My man King Spark, $20 said, let's talk. Indeed, we are talking. My girl Bath Shua, our wedding costs $110 tops. We are happy and my husband's home is at peace. Let me speak on this real quick because my brother had an extravagant wedding plan. And I'm so sad that the pandemic ruined it. right? But um he called and was like, "Look, the baby's coming." So naturally, they was getting married, they moved in together. You know how that go. She got pregnant. So right before they had the baby, my parents, her parents were like, "I better do something." So they were gonna have a ceremony before, just to get married officially, and then they still have the date for the big wedding. That was such an intimate wedding. Church, it was me, as his best man. I brought my son with me. My parents, her parents, and yeah, my sisters and her grandparents. That's it. That's the whole wedding. Everybody at the wedding. That was such an intimate wedding. The dinner, everything was just like the people you actually want to be there. They enjoyed that so much they canceled the big wedding. They canceled the big wedding. They're already parents. They already got the house was getting built together. Like they were like, man, what the hell we need this big ass expense for anymore? So I really respect that because they were like, no, did away with it. My man, marriage, politics, and sports back at it again. Yes, we are. Advanced perception, $2. Marriage should be symbolic and not parasitic. I agree. Bathshua again, $5 said, I always envisioned me being the wife who cooks, cleans, and caters to my husband. And I'm doing just that. Congrats to you. And please, if there is a coalition of women that talk like this and act like this, put the link down in the chat where men can find them. And I'll make sure only marriageable men that are worthy of these women get that link. Let us know. T.I., $5. Appreciate that. Says the good bro Trigger Mike cooking as usual. Hit that like button. Thank you for that. Advanced perception, $5. And any independent woman will tell you they prefer to be taken care of opposed to working till retirement because subconsciously they know. That's what I'm saying. Bathshua again, $5. You can work out from home. There are a plethora of YouTube fitness videos and workable home equipment. I think maybe the Peloton thing, what it really is I like I was going to that Mayweather studio thing for a little bit, but then I always injure myself somehow. I got a ganglion cyst here. I just got removed. That flared up while I was in the service, and another one popped up 3 months into it. I was rolling. So yeah, I'm gonna try something because it's hard to get weight off. I thought I was gonna be a stud forever. It's hard to get weight off
It is,
at this
bro.
age.
Listen,
Damn, it's hard to get weight off.
this is what you gotta do. You can't work out from home, especially if you have kids, because no one's gonna let you rest. They're not used to letting you work out from home, so someone's always gonna come and bother you, throw you off. So it's better for you to wake up early, set a plan like before you start your show. You need to get in the gym at this time, to be home by this time, to do this by this time, and then just work it into your routine. If you can't go with your wife, you guys can train together. But don't do it at home because you get bothered too much. Someone will always distract you, especially
My
at
My wife
See,
tried to do those what is it called? Reggie C Fitness at home. The kids just be standing in front of her trying. She's like, "Good God, I can't do it." I'm like, "Look, they hear her doing it and they just automatically want to go follow her there." She's like, "Impossible. I got to go out and work out. This is crazy."
exactly.
So,
hey,
yep,
Trigger
you're
Mike,
right.
you need to pretend like you don't got all them guns in your house. Then that'll motivate you to work out something.
You know what?
You got all them pistols around. You think I'm good.
I'm pretty secure. Yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. And you know what? Some of my working out can involve that too. I need to go back to all my training. I need to go back to training. I've been sitting here doing all this sedentary work and stuff. This stuff will make you fat quick. All right. What do we got for our next question? I think everybody went on this one. So if you heard the monologue, you heard me talk about ambition. I get a lot of smoke for that comment that I made. A lot of smoke. But I believe it's not people understanding exactly what I'm saying. Because ambition, we used it. No, usually it was the term used for men and how women swear they want an ambitious man. They don't understand other stuff that comes from an ambitious man. Men are traditionally the ones who are more ambitious. Now women are showcasing their ambition, and obviously it's interfering with their marital prospects. I was taught that all ambition is evil, and what you're really trying to say is purpose. No man is really hated. He's more so loved when he's on his purpose. That means he's creating space for all the other purposeful things in his life that he feels like he should be presiding over, that he feels like he needs to give attention to. But ambitious men neglect a lot of shit. Am I wrong? This is why the richest men on earth are terrible fathers. They are the most ambitious men, and all their kids damn near hate them. All right. So, what do y'all think? This next question, we're going to start with Mr. Rich. Is ambition a dangerous characteristic for a woman to have? Your thoughts, sir?
Damn, man. I can't go. I don't know if I agree with that. All right, because ambition. I mean, you're weaponizing it, right? I mean, you could look at it the way you are looking at it. I think control ambition is where you need to be for everybody, male or female. You can't just tell somebody they shouldn't have ambition. It's just got to be. It's just compartments. There's compartments in life, right? So there's a place for ambition. Can it get toxic? Can you go overboard with it? Sure. So but that goes into how the rest of your upbringing was. So I can't just say yes or no. And I hate to be on the middle, but if you say women shouldn't be ambitious, just like you said, men shouldn't be ambitious, right? But how could you really say that? There has to be something controlled because ambition, if you look it up, and I don't have it in front of me, uh, it's like saying somebody's toxic for being masculine. I mean, I don't believe in toxic masculinity under any circumstances. So there's a certain only when let me take that back. Only when women wield masculinity because they don't know what the hell they're doing with it. But as far as ambition, I'm down the middle, and I hate to be equivocating like that, but
No, I know what you mean. It's a hard look. Everything you're doing right now, I did when I first heard that statement.
so I need some. I'm gonna let the other brothers go. Maybe they
So
might
let me make
convince
let
me
me
one
make
way
this
or the other.
statement. Yeah, let me make the statement to what you said because you actually brought up one of the big points on this. All ambition is evil because it's ambition itself that corrupts. Ambition is a lot like power. So when we talk about ambition, we're also talking about someone's ability to control it. But what we're finding more now, the people with the most ambition cannot control it. And it interferes with all other areas of their life. That's what we're talking about. So it's one of those utopian type of things where when we talk about it, we always reference it in as if we can control it.
So what
Oh,
do
I
you
can
say? What is the substitute then? What is
purpose,
it?
purpose, not ambition. Purpose is that's what the substitute for it. So I no longer say I'm an ambitious male. I'm a purpose driven male because I gave that example of me leaving the state. Like I could be making a lot of money right now for people who wanted me to be out of the state of Texas for 4 days a week. I would have not seen my children for 4 days out of the week. You see what I'm saying? For money, we would have
Right.
been a rich family.
But I'm gonna throw a little monkey wrench in there
Yeah.
because what you're telling us is that you can have purpose without ambition. And there's a whole bunch of people with shit written down. They got plans that they've had 100 years, with some purpose, and they haven't made one step towards it. It's the ambition that makes you move forward, right? It's the ability to want to achieve your purpose is the ambition part.
I think
So
I
I
think
mean,
it's
you got
yeah, I
so
think it's more
I'm saying
so
this is a debatable thing. We
I
could
was gonna
talk.
say it's more so semantics because I'll say drive. I'll say
Okay.
ambition and purpose are cousins, and drive is like that's why I use the term purpose driven. When you're driving toward your purpose, the one thing about ambition to me is that you're always creating new versions of it.
Okay.
That's why I said women. What do women say, especially women who've made mistakes? When they have to explain why they made the mistake, they'll use God as an excuse. God gave this to me no, the devil gave that to you. That was ambition. You ruined your marriage because of your ambition. Your husband told you not to go, told you it wasn't a good idea. You split up the family. The children will suffer, but your ambition made you decide against it. That's ambition, not purpose. You see what I'm saying? That's my
Well, we could let the other brothers go ahead and we'll bring it up back up. Go ahead. I hear you though. I hear you. I think he's up
I
to
guess
you.
I'm next.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like ambition is like the will to grow, and I would rather my wife be ambitious than complacent and stagnant. Like, I don't really see it as such as a bad thing because I mean, I'm the leader, I'm the head anyway, so it ain't gonna be nothing that her ambition is gonna lead her to do outside of my approval. She ain't going outside my approval anyway, so her ambition gonna come right up to me, and I'm gonna decide, the best course of action from that point on. So I don't mind her to be ambitious at all, actually.
All right, so King Spark, you must not understand the question, and you must not understand these modern times. A woman can make unilateral decisions by herself outside of her ambition. So what I'm saying is, it is optimal that she consult you as her husband. That's what's expected, and that's what's optimal.
Right.
Women now in today's society are saying, "Screw that! I'm gonna make this decision, and if you give me any pushback, I'm just gonna leave you and take the children. So I no longer have to negotiate with your ass." That's
Yeah,
ambition that did that.
I get you, but that dog not gonna hunt. Trigger Mike, not in my house. I mean, just it's not going. It's not. You not.
I feel
What
the
to
same way,
say?
but that's idealism versus realism.
Like,
You
I
giving
mean,
me
but
what's
this,
ideal. I'm trying to give
but
you what's
no,
real.
no. I'm telling you, this is my reality. Like, you're not even in a position to be my wife if you know what I'm saying. Like I told you about that wife boot camp. You got you got to take the weave out of her head and plug the eyelash off and put the bright light on her and Chinese water torture her until she understands what the hell is about to go on and understands the order of operations and the chain of command. And until she understands that, we won't move any further. And if you can't take it, go ring the bell, and get the hell out of there.
Bet. I want you to
You
check your
know.
new name out.
Ring the
That
Not
bell,
in
sounds
my
man.
like
Ring the
house.
bell.
that sounds like special forces training or
Hey,
something.
hey, it is. It
What's
is.
going on?
It is. Damn
Not in my
near.
house. I feel you. All right, Trey, you're up.
Yeah, I think I understand where you're going with this question. And I think today in 2023, yeah, it's an absolute dangerous characteristic for a woman to have because like many things that have happened in today's culture, words have been changed to fit, the feelings of people. So they've literally changed the definitions of words so that it fits whatever narrative or agenda they're trying to push. I think maybe 60 years ago, an ambitious woman who, wanted to have a family and was trying to succeed at being a good wife and being a good mother. Yeah, you wanted her to have some ambition because that's where her ambition was tailored towards the family and towards her husband, right? But in today's society, I wouldn't date an ambitious woman. You know what I mean? Like that's not a characteristic that I look for in a woman that I would want to date today because I think they just changed the definition of what it actually is and what it means. And unless her ambition is of a traditional value to where she wants to succeed at being a great wife and being a great mother, I'm out.
Nice. Wife school, welcome.
You guys are horrible. I you want an ambitious woman, somebody that's intelligent, but she doesn't supersede that above the relationship in context of marriage. You know what I'm saying? So in your prospects, yeah, you want to see that the woman's ambitious because you want to see her, she's the one that cultivates that in the children along with the husband. And if you don't have an ambitious woman, she's not going to push anything. She's not going to push that agenda that you guys have that the husband has for the vision of the home. So you do want a woman to in some way have some ambition because you know that she has some competence to be a wife, handle things in the home, handle the children. Now I think the characteristics that you don't want is a woman that's in fairy tale land and that's delusional, because in that way she's entitled. She thinks she can do this, she thinks she can do that, she thinks she can override you, she doesn't have to have your approval or your consent in any matters. So I think the word needs to be changed to a delusional woman.
Okay. I use that word delusional quite a bit too. I do. I use it. Oh, it's gonna get put in the rotation. Don't you worry. All
Yeah, I
right.
just want to know what she means by you guys. I mean, it wasn't all of us.
I did hear you, Mr. Red. I'm so I love you. You said you were in the middle, so I retract from you, honey. Thank you.
I'm just.
Mrs. Rich, wife school out here blowing kisses at your husband. Mrs. Rich, you there?
Hey,
All
well,
right.
my wife
Stop
she wouldn't
snitching,
mind.
Trigger. Stop snitching.
Mr. Rich, he ain't gonna do nothing. He's a faithful man, 35 years. So that little kid ain't gonna do nothing. He's gonna be like,
You know how many times somebody said he ain't gonna do nothing. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
I
Never
swear
mind.
to
Never
God,
mind.
I played the teddy bear role a long.
All right. Trey, you stupid. Go ahead. Go ahead. Trey is oh no, you went. You went. Last Africa, you still glitching up? Somebody, there you go. Nah. Didn't we tell you to get rid of this Bell Atlantic internet you got? Oh no. Sparkle. We'll wait for the last African. What you got? Nah, you still glitching up.
He's the last African to get Wi-Fi.
Oh. Are you using AOL? Dollar? Is this what this is?
oh my
Oh,
God.
that's so cold, man. Jesus.
I thought America Online was bad. This dude got Africa Online. No. All right.
Oh man, Jesus.
Sparkle. Is ambition a dangerous characteristic for women to have?
Not necessarily. I think it depends what the ambition is. I think if it's finance, if it's career based, it can be because it can mean that her priorities go out of order. And if she ends up over earning you, then she can use that as a way to sort of try to will control. But if her ambition is you and the family and her ambition is based on her purpose, that can be to your benefit because you don't want a woman who's just coasting along, going through the motions, allowing you to do everything. You want a woman who's willing to have some drive and willing to put her best foot forward as your wife. Because it's one thing to allow you to lead, but you don't want to drag her along. You want her to be productive along in the process. So I think it depends what the ambition is.
Nice. Flex Henry. He probably
I'm
curling
here,
right
bro.
now. All right,
I'm
bet.
good.
He like, ugh. Is ambition a dangerous characteristic for women to have?
I think it depends. I think that unguided ambition can be dangerous because women tend to be extremists. So with anything, if a woman hits the gym and they work out, they don't see themselves going too far. So they just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. They'll get the body they want, but they won't see it. So they'll just keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Women that go to school will get 1 degree, get 2 degrees, get PhD.
Oh,
They'll just keep going, keep going. Oh, I got one promotion. I'll get two promotions. If I get this third promotion, I'm gonna make this. They keep going. They keep going. They don't have someone to be like, hey, you know what? You made it. This is it. You can cruise. With men, we always have to exercise. There's two things I always talk about. It's either time or it's money. When you don't have the money, you have the time. When you have the time, most likely you don't have the money. One of those things always gets sacrificed until you get to a certain point in life where you have the things that you need and you can kind of go on cruise control. So sometimes, like, for keeping it real, most men don't make enough money for their women to be stay-at-home wives. So sometimes you may need your woman, as much as people hate to say, but you may need your woman to work. And she may work a job that's more labors. She may need that promotion to get to that desk job. She may need that promotion to get to more of a supervisory role to where she's not totally extending herself, like being in a role where she has to be more masculine and less feminine. So if these things are guided, Like, you know what? Maybe you should move left in this field. Don't leave the field, but maybe you need to move to the left instead of moving up. Or certain opportunities, like, listen, this one's two labors. Maybe you need this promotion so you can get in this office and you can sit down instead of having to do all the manual labor work. So sometimes, if it's guided right, ambition can be good, but it just has to be guided by the right man, of course.
Bet. Moses, you going on this one yet?
Not yet, but I can answer. Can you ask the
Yep.
question again?
Is ambition a dangerous characteristic for women to have?
Yes and no. It depends on the woman, her understanding of ambition. The definition of ambition for her will definitely determine how she'll handle it. I think it just depends on how she was raised with the word ambition. There's a negative connotation in the society for it. So there's a lot of ladies using it. Or I guess, man, you could say like the rich father has no time for his family, making all the money. I think it depends on how you use the time and your energy. Is it for your family or is it towards just career to get a higher position? I think it just depends on how the person is using ambition. It's the lady, of course, but it just depends on the person, I think.
My man, my man. Appreciate that. All right, let's get these super chats out of the way. Bashua says $5. Utilize the kids or have them work out with you. Include them. Then again, I was trained as a teacher, so that is my mindset. Have you seen some of these kids? Have you seen some of these toddlers? Yeah, all on the yoga mat. You got a good, probably situation going on where you can control it. But boy, these kids they extra. They on something. Advanced perception, $2. Then say, I need someone more ambitious than me. They do say that. They do say that. I would encourage women to find a purpose-driven man. I don't think women today can even keep up with the ambitious man that they want or his requirements. Every dude that know a dude that's doing something like that has requirements. Then you're gonna want to argue with this dude about what you're not gonna do. I hope he drop your ass like a bad habit. Anyway. And it says Trigger Mike agrees with Bashua workout plan. I'm gonna try it because y'all calling me fat now. Everybody talking about what I should be doing in the gym and shit. I ain't talking to y'all about that no more. All right. What we got up next? I want to start with the ladies on this because both of y'all have been married before. Why are so many women infatuated with their wedding? It seems like a regular question, but I want to hear it from everybody, especially modern women, because I believe it's changed. I don't think the reason women were infatuated in 1960 is the reason women are infatuated with it in 2023. Wife School, go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure the reason for it in 1960, but when I was having my wedding and planning it, I was just really excited that I finally was going to have, a husband, and that I was going to start my life. And the wedding was a symbol of that. Like I was just transitioning to something else in society, like a new role. Like this was great. So the wedding kind of simplifies that. But it was simple. I stay within my means. But there's people that want to go overindulgent. But there's nothing wrong with that if you can afford it. But as long as you're understanding what's to come after that, if you're not just rushing into the specific duty, because there's a lot of responsibility, there's a lot of ups and downs, and I don't think we understand that. I was listening to somebody saying like you're with a person, but the marriage is the agreement you're making to the person after that day. So before the marriage, you guys are, just dating and courting, but that marriage, that commitment, you're making that commitment to who they become after that day, because it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy. They may cheat. They may do all these things. They may get sick. So I don't think people understand that you're really encompassing all that. But, the wedding is fun. You get to see your friends and family, and people get to see you look in a certain way. And it should be a joyous occasion. But I don't think that a wedding day is wrong because you are sharing it with the people that you love, and it's an intimate thing. But I think we get lost, when it starts getting a little rough.
Indeed. Sparkle, I want to go to you next. Why are so many women infatuated with their wedding?
I think it's because the wedding industry brainwashes women to think it's all about them, from everything, from the rings to the flowers to it's all about the wedding day. I mean, I remember when I was planning my wedding, we just decided to keep everything within our means. We didn't want to get married and have a battle of debt to deal with afterward. We wanted to be reasonable about it. But for us, because we had a church wedding, we wanted it to be a beautiful occasion because it was a covenant. For us, I think the problem that we're seeing today is that modern women forget that marriage is a traditional institution. So they're trying to put modern values and modern stances onto a traditional institution. And this is where I think it's going wrong. I think, you can have a beautiful wedding that doesn't break the bank and doesn't make you poor or whatever. You can. It's doable. I did it. But what I will say is I think too many things, whether it be entertainment industry, magazines, whatever, make the wedding be about the bride and not you as a union coming together to be one. And aside from that, people forget you're not just marrying your husband or your wife. You're also bringing your families together. You're also making a commitment to possibly develop a new family if you have kids and all the rest of it. I think people really need to understand what that means. It's not just about having a wedding. You can have a party for any day in the week and make it all about you. You don't need to get married to have a party or a big celebration. If you're going to get married, you have to realize it's a serious commitment. You're now becoming family. You're not just together legally, but for me, I'm a Christian, so for me, it was covenant. It's a big deal. And a lot of modern women, they think it's all about me, me, me. And unfortunately, in a lot of the previous conversation I had on your first couple of questions, people treat marriage with the mindset of until it ends. I've heard women say, well, my first husband will be like this. I'm thinking, what do you mean your first husband? Like, isn't this supposed to be a forever commitment? At least that's the intention. But a lot of people are constantly thinking about when it ends, I'm going to lose half, or when it ends, this is going to happen. Or there's not enough thought of what do I need to do to make this work? Everybody's so quick to talk about it finishing. I just find that really depressing, personally. But sorry, rant.
You just depressed the shit out of me. I know that. Damn. When is it gonna end? We are first husband.
I hear that a lot. I hear people talk about, oh, my next wife's gonna be like this, or oh, my next husband's gonna be like that. And I think, why are you marrying people then? What is that?
I guess we shouldn't be surprised when the news is reporting that 8th graders are saying they don't want to get married because they can't collect child support. So I guess we shouldn't be too surprised at that either. All right, I got a different question for the fellas. I just wanted to know why women were infatuated with the wedding. But this is a better question because I think it speaks to the overall topic for everybody to answer. Why do you think most modern marriages don't make it past the 5-year mark? Trey, we'll start with you. In fact, my bad. I could tell he got a better signal. We're going to go with Last African. Before his clock is ticking.
You go get up off my Wi-Fi, man.
All right.
I'm out here in the county. I say out here in the county ain't that good.
I got you.
Look at him. You done messed me up, Mike.
My bad.
What
So
was
why do you think most marriages don't make it pa- to the 5 year mark?
because they're not marrying for love. You they done took love out the game. That's all I can, If
Love,
yeah,
I would think. Oh, okay. No, I'm not. I'm not even gonna do it. Trey looks like he wants to get in here. Go ahead.
you took love out of it.
Look, even
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Rich came back on camera and was
it ain't
tripping
love.
like,
The problem with love is that love is fleeting. That will change over time. People love things one day and they hate it the next. So that's not the reason why most of these marriages aren't making it to 5 years. The problem with a lot of these marriages not making it 5 years because they were never built on a foundation to begin with, and the foundation was shaky. The foundation wasn't there. There was no foundation of honesty, communication, loyalty, commitment, duty. But I don't think that it has anything to do with love. One of the reasons why I haven't gotten married because I've never been able to have that conversation, with a woman who shares those same ideals that I do. Right? And we're having this conversation. She's not talking about duty. She's talking about the wedding. Well, I'm talking about my responsibilities as a husband, as a man. And she's talking about what's going to be our first song. We're not talking about the same things here. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the reasons. I think that a lot of the marriages, the most successful marriages that I've seen in my family, they are about duty. I've watched my 80-year-old aunt, get up and she still makes my uncle his plate. At 80 years old, she still fixes his plate and brings it to him. It's about duty, and they did that until they died. So I think that when the marriages are built on something structurally strong, they last. But I think a lot of in today's society with social media and all of these options that people have on both sides, men have options, women have options. They don't feel the need to stay in the marriage, especially when you can just walk in on a Tuesday and say, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm out.
Mm.
I, I, can I
All right, last
disagree with that?
African. Go
Can,
ahead.
oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
you
just
start before
disagree
you're
because
next.
the women today are so much different. You got, and you talk about how men dictate a standard for women, and you dictate the standard about how based on your income and how much you make. That's all I ever hear. Uh, you can't you can't really gauge it that way. You have to love a woman. If I don't love a woman, I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm not gonna be with a woman I don't love. Like Johnny Taylor said, I'd rather drink muddy water. I'd rather sleep in a hollow log before I love a woman I can't trust.
Not in my house.
You said
Mrs.
why are
Clark.
women so infatuated with the wedding? Is that what you talking about?
Yes.
I feel sorry for women because I think it's an indoctrination from the time that they're children. It's the Disney stories and followed by the chick flicks, followed by the romance novels. Shit, by the time you get down to wanting to marry them, they already got a picture in their head of what's going on. The question no guys have ever asked each other is, say, what kind of tux you getting for your wedding? Like, ain't nobody never asked somebody that shit. Nobody don't get whatever they got at the place. Whatever if they got my size. But yeah, I feel like it's a total indoctrination. It starts long before puberty for women, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Mr. Flex. Mr. Flex. All right, Moses. Are you okay, Flex?
Yes. Yeah,
You
I'm here. I'm here. What was the question again?
The question is why are so modern women are obsessed with infatuated with the wedding?
Oh man, that's
Disney.
a good question. Well, well, the thing is that the wedding, if you think about what's raising these children, are just the ladies. Of course, they're watching a lot of stuff that show the one side. It's just, the funniest thing I noticed was that, um, you see these movies with girls watching women going through a wedding, and they'll never know the bad, but just know the good. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's that fantasy that always takes part of that whole. This is what marriage is. This is the wedding. It's everything in that wedding that you need. And
Keep it
then when you see the marriage, it looks bad, depressing, abusive, color purple type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like this is marriage. Yeah, that's the worst movie ever, I think. Um, it's like all these things is what pushed on our society is just so crazy. Because in the Western society, I've noticed we kind of give women more of the, which is not saying I'm is good or bad, but it's more so for women. Like marriage is for women in the Western society. Eastern society, I realize it's more towards the men because they're the ones that's providing and they make the men as the leader. And it's kind of funny. I don't know if Sparkle spoke on it, but she should speak on it because she knows the Eastern society really does it does have a different narrative for marriage there.
Eastern society.
Mr. Flex?
Europe, that's the side I'm talking
I
about.
think
Europe.
it's because we were raised in a society
Oh,
that especially with young girls, they see all these Disney movies. Disney movies are predicated on princesses finding their Prince Charming and having all these elaborate weddings. No matter what Disney movie it is, most Disney movies are princess centric. And at the end of all those movies, they get married. And so you
Happy
start
ever
seeing these
after.
movies. Yeah, you
Hey,
start seeing
Flex,
these
Flex,
movies.
before you go any further, Flex, the
Mhm.
question really is why does the amount of marriage pass the 5 year mark?
I'm sorry, I didn't see that question flashing, so I apologize.
I mean, do you
Okay.
hear me? You got that?
Yeah, I got you.
All right.
It doesn't pass the 5 year mark because people are getting married for the wrong reason. I think some women are getting married for this to have this wedding as a bucket list check off, but they're not ready for what comes after the marriage. Was it? I think a high percentage of relationships break up during the woman's pregnancy. For some reason, a lot of these relationships are ending during that pregnancy because the hormones are different, and a lot of people aren't prepared for that. There's no more premarital counseling that people should get before they get married. There's no more equally yoked. We don't have those conversations anymore about finding a person that balances you, finding a person that has your whatever your weaknesses are is what their strengths are. Whatever their weaknesses are, is what your strengths are. We don't have those conversations. All we have is when you get married, when's the date, when's the bachelorette party, what we fly into, and how much the dress gonna cost and how much you pay. Nothing after that. Not how we gonna plan out a life for us, how we gonna plan a life for these kids. Where do you want to live? What's going to be our starter house? How much we want to put to the side to get to the next house? Where do we want to live so we make sure our kids go to school that have the best, that have the highest school rating? None of that, none of those discussions are being had at all.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Moses. Can you go back and answer that question? Why do you think
Oh, for
most
sure.
marriages end before the 5 year mark? Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, that's a good question. I'll answer that. Yeah. So what I understand, because like I said, I'm very transparent about these things. I think the honeymoon phase, once that's over, reality sets in. They see all their homegirls in that single life around them that are not married. You notice that when people have those kind of friends that are like not trying to get married and they're like 1 year in a relationship for marriage, you notice that a lot of people start wanting to emulate their friends who have happier. They say they're happy, but they're really miserable because they're not really with nobody. So it's like these 5 year marks never reach to those to like a 5 year period because sometimes people just don't understand women, and I don't think it's more men, but I think more women. They technically see that side of marriage being so sorry for the noise. They technically don't see marriage as a long term because they see that whole like lifestyle being kind of boring. Like they want more excitement. They want somebody to make them jump when they jump. You know what I'm saying? It's more so I want to follow this trend of life because my friends are doing it or my other family members are doing it. It's not even something that's realistic. It's more so I want to make my life more exciting because it's not that fun no more. It's kind of boring, but marriage is gonna be boring. It really is gonna be boring. That's not a bad thing. It just depends how you spend your time. But if you think it's just gonna be boring, you're gonna divorce your spouse sooner or later.
All right. So I guess I'm up next. Listen, just in defense of the last African, 7 out of the 8 marriage vows, depending on the denomination, has the word love in it. 7 out of the 8. I think the Protestants are the only ones who don't use the word love. But that's just neither here nor there. I don't want the brother to be hanging out there because a lot of us say we shouldn't get married because of love. But it's in 7 of those things. But anyway, I think one of the things that I was lucky about with or blessed is that my wife wanted to marry me. I can't come to any other conclusion. She wanted to be married to me. So when we got engaged, we had a whole year of planning a wedding, but we were also planning our life after we got married. So that's we had a lot of conversations during that period of time, and you know, and we just always been kind of close that way, you know. And I was ready to get married, she was ready to get married, and then it was a 10-year period that it took us to have our two daughters, and the time period for us to have those two girls, I could never repay my wife for that. I could never. I mean, she went through all kinds of stuff to bring those kids into this world. I mean, I don't need to go through all those details, but it took 10 years to have two daughters, right? And then after we had two daughters, it's funny. My second one, of course, it took they were 7 years apart. So every man wants a boy, of course. So she had ultrasound, and the doctor, just wanted to rub it in, and he had an arrow pointing to the woo-ha. He said, "It's a girl." I said, "Oh man," you know what I'm saying? I said, but that's just a side story because you love him anyway. But there was no way I was gonna ask my wife to have another kid.
Mm.
After she went through, I said, just knowing that for my own selfish ego, wanting a son and blah blah blah. I said two shots at the apple is enough. Then we just let time take care of the rest. But I wasn't gonna put her through that again. This just no way. So I think all these things made us laugh year mark. And a lot of people who don't get there, they just don't have that closeness. Love could be a part of it, but the vows are the most important part of it. And I don't think people review the vow. After you get married, when's the last time anybody looked at the vows, right? I got married, I said I do, and me and my wife joke. I said, "You said I do, you love me, right, on day one, but I haven't heard you say it for the last 10 years." So people just don't review why they got married enough. Why did we get married? And just let shit come in, family members come in, friends come in, all kinds of people come in and get in the way of marriage, and that helps break it up. And one more thing, Tia Mowry, right? We keep going back to her when she did her first victory tour, and people keep missing this. Before she divorced her husband or put through, she actually said on air that she talked to one of her girlfriends. She jumped right over it. But I bet you it was some single woman putting some bullshit in her ear, your happiness or some, and they glossed over it, and then it was it. So she listened to somebody, and now she's miserable as hell. And and if he ever takes her back, man, I'm gonna put a big X over his face and never. I never want to see that guy
You
again.
know what? I'm gonna say, listen, if he takes her, it's not because I want to do that. To trust me, y'all know my demeanor and my thoughts on this. Whenever men do that, I don't think it's really for the woman because men can be pissed off. You could literally be like, man, it's for life. And now he's actually just now getting in his bag. He just got his first recurring role. He's a star. He's making money, so he can have any woman he wants. He's doing it for his kids. That's why I had one homie that got back with his wife after she cheated. And the other boys look at him like, "You crazy." I was like, bruh, he ain't doing it for her. Their marriage ain't even gonna look the same. He doing it for
No.
them two girls he got. You know what I mean? Because they took it hard. Like, one tried to delete herself. So, he doing it for them
Oh,
girls. And we logical like that. Like, I can't stand this one. But let me go ahead. Do this for these babies, man.
yeah, separate bedrooms and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All right. Who hasn't gone on this? Oh, everybody went on this one?
I think Sparkle needs to go.
Yeah, I don't think I've gone on this one.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm fairly newly married myself, so I haven't got to the 5-year point yet. But from my observation, I think what the issue is that people have this fairy tale idea. It's all this happily ever after stuff. They forget that no. The day of the wedding is the start of the journey. it's not just going to be sunshine and strawberries for the rest of it. It's like, okay, now I've got to get in the trenches. Now I have to do work. And I don't think anyone realizes how that's going to be until you do get married, actually. I mean, you have a vague idea of it, but I remember when we were courting, we got engaged maybe 10 months into seeing each other, and we got married 8 months after that. So it was fairly quick. But we discussed everything from pensions, looking after our parents, should they get sick one day. Like, we talked about everything. And I think for us, the foundation of our marriage is basically built on First Corinthians and all the principles of that, and just trying to stay humble and trying to stay focused. But I think the minute you get selfish and make it about you, that's usually when things start to go a bit off. I think what people forget, as Rich said, is the severity of the vows. You know, a vow is meant to be a permanent promise. It's not just something you say for the thought of it, or just because you have to go through a ritual of some sort. It's, you know, in my opinion, if you don't take them seriously when you're saying them, you shouldn't be getting married in the first place. I know that you can't predict the future, but you need to have the right intentions with this, and you need to be willing to do the work. And it is going to get rough. I know that, because life gets rough. People die, things happen, stresses come in that you. But I think in my situation, we got together during the lockdowns of C19. So to be able to cope through the headache of all of that and the stress that was happening around that, dealing with the kid, because some of you know I've got stepchildren, and so dealing with the kids and everything else, it was a lot. So I think people just need to do the work and be willing to put the family first, and know that you're not always going to be happy. And when you need that space, go and see your family, or pray, or just take some you time, but don't throw in the towel necessarily. I think everyone knows it's going to be rough days, but I do think people give up too quick. And I think ultimately divorce shouldn't be an easy option. It should be the last resort, in my opinion.
Are you telling me that marriage isn't, you're not going to be happy all the time?
I'm not.
Not all the time?
You know what? I'm not a card carrying member of the
Trash.
Delusion Ladies Club. You know what I mean? I know full well it's going to be hard days. I think it's only delusional women who think it's going to be a fairy tale every single day. There are days I wake up and I feel like I've got to do a whole day's work. Plus, I got to go gym. And yes, I know I'm a big girl, for those in the comments, but I do work out. And then I got to come home and cook for my husband and take care of the house. And I'm aware of all of that. And sometimes I can't be bothered, you know, but you have to just do it. Sometimes you just have to push through and know that it's a tough day, but tomorrow's going to be a better one.
You mean you have a duty? Is that what you're saying?
My God. I
I have
didn't
a
speak,
duty.
Trigger.
Yes. Marriage is
I like
duty.
that.
Marriage is duty. Don't get me wrong. You can love your spouse. I love my husband. But I'll be honest, if I didn't love him, I wouldn't want to perform my duty as much, to be fair. So I think they go hand in hand.
Mm.
You know, Mike, I think
I mean,
oftentimes slide this in there. I think oftentimes, like Sparkle was saying, like people make the wedding, you know, the climax of the whole situation,
Yep.
when it should just be the foreplay. Like that should just be the beginning of y'all actually spending the rest of your lives together. That's when you can really start to plan things. And you know, for me, like that's when I'm really gonna start to spend a little bag on you. Like I'm not doing all that before I got you, you know, locked in my clutches. Once I got you, now we can do some extravagant things and some extravagant dates. And you know, we could really, that's the purpose of getting a wife, is to have a woman to enjoy life with, you know. And that's just the beginning.
Indeed.
No, I
um,
want a woman to keep the bed warm. That's
If
all.
y'all secure y'all masculinity and let this woman talk, she's literally be like, "Can I?" Go ahead, wife school.
it's okay I know how to move around this. um, I don't think that marriages make it because we're not talking to each other. We're not communicating. Sis is probably over here frustrated that, your shoes stink or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And she's not speaking up. And, the man, he's over here in his situation. The woman may not be putting out anymore. So I don't think communication is I think communication is a big factor in weddings. Sorry, in marriages. And I don't think people maintain admiration and respect for one another, especially for the women. Like if we are, like you said, like the ambition, or if we don't see that our guy is doing something and comparing him to someone else, sometimes little voices can creep into a woman's head and make her rethink, like, wow, he's not doing this, he's not about that. And so then she starts pushing her agenda. You should do this, you should do that. And, try to make a man do something that not what he want to do, right? I think people are going to bed angry, letting issues fester and not, really bringing them out, because like, I bet something started one way, somebody just brushed it under the rug and just let it fester until it just got to a point where they just couldn't take it anymore and they don't want to be with that person. And I think that is a big, big, big thing. Also, letting other people intrude into your marriage, not knowing your wife's friends, circle a little bit, like, because if you're not aware of their friends, they could be planting those bad seeds and negative thoughts and negative perceptions of your man, because friends tend to usually be biased and be on the woman's side. Like, oh girl, I knew Leroy wasn't, what he said he was, that
Leroy, come on now. He sound like he's no good.
I know, you know what I'm saying? So, other single females can like impose their negative thoughts, like Mr. Rich said, into your head and make you change your whole perception about your man when you're the one that lives with him. And hence not communicating with your husband and going to the avenues to get your marriage rehabbed and fixed, and to go reflect back to the reasons why you got married in the first place. So that's me. I'm a little jumbled up today.
So, that thing you said about not going to bed angry, boy, when one day we could do a whole show on that because it needs more context. I go to bed
Yes,
angry all
sir.
the time. All the time, because if I talk about it right then, I'm gonna explode. I'm angry. I'm going to bed angry. That shit pissed me off, right? So we need more context with that. It's that I'm not gonna blow up, then go to sleep. I'm gonna just hold this in because you shook the Coke bottle. If I take the top off right now, so. Whew.
Okay, Mike, you still might blow up depending on what she say.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, I wanted to go
That one
at
I
the
don't
white
get.
school.
People use that one a lot. Like, don't go to bed angry. I don't know what kind of robots somebody trained y'all to be. I be pissed off all the time.
Yeah, it
Right?
happens sometimes. We ain't perfect.
Yeah. All right,
But
bet.
I wanted to
Everybody.
go at the white school.
Oh, go ahead.
I feel like it starts really like when they're young, dating too early. A lot of them got, the wrong perception of what marriage is and things like that. That's why you hear a lot of women running around saying, niggas ain't shit. And they don't even realize they dating the dudes they shouldn't even be dating until they get up in there, later, 30, and they get up to 30, and then they trying to, rewrite their wrongs. It's like, you jumping out here, you jumping the gun too early, like, and you out here, you hot in your ass, you jumping from one person to another, back to back, and it's like a lot of them don't really got the guidance on what it takes to be married. They think they know, but they really don't. So when they get with somebody, most people, they already shacking up way before they get married. They already together for a few years before that even happened. And some people think getting married is just like some magical spell is going to change the dynamics of the relationship, and that's not how that go. Like a lot of people, give up on themselves in the marriage, a relationship, or whatever. So a lot of people get content, they get comfortable. The women gain weight, and what they on the couch bench watching Netflix for a couple hours out the day, when you could be using that time making sure you stay fit, looking how you used to look when you first met your man. But you think because you got him, he ain't going nowhere. You get gain weight and it's cool, and you expect him to still be attracted to you the same way he was when he first met you. It don't work like that.
Yeah, I am.
So and back to the problems too. Like the people don't resolve the issues in the household neither. Like you can't keep letting the problem build up and expect a person to be ready to talk to you and they got an attitude the whole time. Like, and so you say something, they snap. You like, I don't know why he tripping. Like, you know exactly why. Like, but you gotta just brush it off like it ain't nothing. Or you feel like, because he a man, he shouldn't trip off certain stuff like that. That's unrealistic.
But see, that's why it's important to talk about issues before they become problems.
Right.
Like when something's just sort of nagging at you a little bit, that's the best time to talk about it, rather than let it fester and bubble up into something where then you overreact and now you're lashing out at each other. That's just toxic.
Right, and then you bring up an old issue with a new issue. Like you've been
Right.
holding this against me the whole time. You supposed to been said something. Like I don't
Exactly.
even know this bothering you. So it's like, well, you ain't say that last week when you did this. Like what's going on? Like we on something new right now. You
But
been on
that's
something
tit for tat.
2 months ago. I know, and that happens a
That's
lot of
going
times
back and
too.
forth.
Yeah, and that
That's going
happens a
back
lot
and
of
forth.
times. Yeah, it definitely happens. So yeah, I think that's why.
I bet. That's everybody on this particular question. All right. Damn, my other question disappeared. My other question disappeared. This one was about men. Damn, it was about men and their inability to choose marriageable women. Like, this is a certain type of woman we're talking about, as I stated in the monologue, right? She's overly ambitious in the bad way, right? Not purpose driven. She's superficial. Ooh, let's talk about that. So, what do y'all think? Well, no, that's kind of what this question was about and why women want the wedding. It's because they're superficial, everything is for show, yada yada. What else did I talk about? The career. Yeah, let's just talk about that next. Can a career get in the way, or how does a career usually get in the way of a woman's marriage? Wife school.
Um, I don't know. Well, because I've seen a lady at my church, right? But the thing is that they don't have children, so she had time, and they probably, could work that thing out. But it depends on the woman, and if she doesn't know how to balance and juggle her man and her marriage and her children into the equation, that can be a problem because a lot of things are going left, and children need time and attention. Your husband needs time and attention. The household needs time and attention. Yes, your career, yes, your education needs that time and attention, but you do have to know when to shut it off and prioritize your family and work that in. So it depends on the woman, but if she's, you know, trying to push her agenda above her family, if she's in a married situation, that's not a good thing. And that could affect the children because she could see like the children be like, hey, mom, we want to play. I want to do this with you. Or can you show me this? And she's like, go away right now. Go away. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. That can make, your child, grow up like, I love my mom. But when I grew up, she was never there. She never guided me. I was left alone. I didn't know, I was there to fend for myself. Or the husband, you neglect him, and that's never good. So it could be very detrimental if it's definitely causing her to neglect her duty and role as a wife and mother in the home.
Indeed. Trey, how does her career interfere with her marriage?
I'm not even gonna beat a dead horse. Wife school said everything I was gonna
Black
say. So
Dragon.
so I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. She literally said what I was gonna say.
Bet.
I could read your mind. No, so I'm just playing.
Not in my house. Not in my house. I want to hear this one.
Oh, um, well, probably with her inability to turn that shit off. When you have a woman that's in a career where she's ahead, she's used to leading things. She's used to everybody coming to her for her advice, for her direction, and then she comes home and then she feels like, hey, that this is just another extension of her leadership opportunities or roles from work. Like, hell no, like, you can sit down now. You did great at work. Sit down right there and what we eating, and that's the I think that's the best way to explain it, or that would be the biggest obstacle, just for her inability to shut that shit off when she walks in the door.
Mm, bet. Who is next?
I think
In
I
the
am.
career. How
And
does her
listen,
career? Yeah, go ahead.
no, no, one of the things I think is it's a combination of stuff. I think it's really the black woman that has the most trouble with this, but might not only be just her fault. Every other nationality of women, white women, Asian women, Hispanic women, they know how to juggle career and family without all this horse shit, right?
Mm,
However, I think in defense of the black woman, and I have to be here, they've been under such a social engineering program, and the mantra was, "I got my own. I don't need a man." And if people doesn't don't think that causes some psychological damage with women, we got another thing coming. And the second thing is, and I can go into the details. So that's upbringing, the social mores and stuff. And the other thing is also when a man chooses a woman who has some ambition, who has some success, we make some fundamental mistakes. One, if a woman went through med school or got a PhD, but she still wants to be married, the last thing she needs to hear you tell her is that what she done doesn't freaking matter. You don't know how crazy that is. It might not matter to your future, but it's not like she wasn't in the class drinking coffee and doing all that shit to achieve something. So you can't just dismiss that shit. You might not need it, but don't dismiss it because it causes them to feel some kind of way. So guys got to kind of stop that. We got to understand what we're talking about. The other thing is, if you're going to marry a woman who has achievement, you don't have to lose leadership, but you need to talk about it, right? I have a friend of mine. He never finished college, but his wife was a hospital administrator, top notch hospital administrator. And every so often he had to remind her, hey, listen, you got 100, 200 people underneath you. I ain't one of them. I'm not one of them. So listen, you can leave that shit there. When you come home here, this is how it's going to be. But so there's some other things we need to do. Like me, I don't mind cooking, right? Like I wash my own clothes. There's some shit I don't ask my wife to do. But she always makes my plate. Well, I don't ask her. I mean, she just, no matter where we are, she brings me a plate. That's sometimes I have to say, hey, listen, let me go. I'm gonna come up with you. But and but I didn't marry her for that. Man, I used to cook for women so I could get laid when I was in college, man. Shoot, I used to have a nice little behind, little food,
I
and
told
it
y'all.
wasn't huh? It wasn't
Yeah,
expensive. I used to make a mean chicken gizzard,
I told y'all.
huh?
So I
So
told y'all
anyway,
dudes be cooking. Dudes be cooking and get them drawers off.
oh
A,
my
a
God,
common
I
man.
a
like
common
to.
a common misconception is that the women cook for us, but it works the other way around too.
Oh yeah, man.
Women love to eat. It cooks the other way around. It works the other way
Oh yeah.
around.
Yeah, so you guys know your way around the kitchen. Anyway, but the truth of the matter is, the black women have an issue with juggling career and family, and it's almost exclusive to them. And there's reasons for that, and we need to help them with that shit, right? Because
Right.
I don't, we can't go around saying we don't care whether they're successful or not. I mean, that's crazy. It just shouldn't interfere with us moving forward. And Here's the last thing. I'm gonna shut up. If you're making some money, you could be hell if you think all your money is yours and not some of it is ours. I'll never, your woman ever tell me that. So you must be out of your damn mind. I'll pay the bills, but here's the chunk of your money. It's gonna go to this, and it's gonna be automatic. You know, every month. You know, and if you don't like that, then we can't get married. You know, it's
That's
as simple as that.
save it for tomorrow's episode. Tomorrow's episode is the truth about 50-50. So that's gonna be good advice.
All right, so that's me. I'm
tomorrow.
landing the plane.
All right, Sparkle, what you got? How does her career interfere with her marriage?
I think a career can interfere if it throws the priorities out of order. And what I mean by that is, to kind of echo what some of you guys have said, if she takes the work home with her, and if there isn't any sort of discipline enacted. So, for example, my husband and I have a bit of a rule that's like, once we're home, we don't really sit on the phones and be like this in front of each other. We have to engage, you know, when we're together, when the kids are around, whatever. We like to be as a unit doing things together, not be so insular with our phones or our tablets or whatever. And that includes work stuff. That stuff can wait until later. It's important to prioritize the time, because if I started answering calls to management and whatever outside of the hours I'm actually paid for, I'm now putting my business in front of the family, which obviously is going to be an issue. Aside from that, I think the career, not only can it cause issue with the marriage, but if you prioritize your career, you also don't take enough time for yourself to eat right, to go to gym, to do whatever. It just becomes business all the time. And to kind of go along with what some of the points Rich was saying, I think what other cultures have that isn't in place with the Black community is the fact that when a woman has a career, the purpose is, I'm doing this career to make money for my family, and we're going to use that to build. Whereas Black women, and it's not our fault, but society is kind of programmed this ego mindset so that we've now tried to compartmentalize our career and our marriage, rather than realize that we do one to supplement the other, not to supplement me, and I can just do my life and my marriage is a secondary thing. Every other culture has it in mind that what I bring home, whether it's or whatever, is for the family. It's not just for me. So I think that's where the interference comes into play.
All right, last African. We still got you? You frozen?
Yeah, I'm in there. Come on, man. I'm in there, man. I'm in there. I think women got, as I hear women speak, I think the priorities is way too, all jumbled up. A woman, I figure when my woman used to come home from work, right, I didn't want her worry about fixing dinner and all that. Her job was go in there and get that bed warm. You ain't got a whole lot to do. You know what I'm saying? I can cook. It's, you know what I'm saying? I think a woman, like this one woman I had, and I'm going to be totally honest. She was a white woman. But she said, she said her mama taught her to never let her man leave the house hungry or horny. And that's how she played it with me. And if a woman, just to get on the topic though, if a woman making more money, because I had a woman that made some money at one time, it's been years ago, but I didn't want a whole lot of, her money. I didn't want all of that from her. She was fine. I wanted her body. I wanted to pleasure myself with her. And that's probably the big reason why I'm not married probably now, because I'm not really good at sex. I admit that. I don't care about, pleasing her so much. If she don't get it while I'm getting mine, I dare you. You better go ahead and break something out. But that's total honesty though, but that's over time. But I think women today, If you would just please that man, I mean, because I couldn't do nothing with around her because she had me. I was exhausted most of the time. That one, But if women just start prioritizing, get the priority straight again about what a man really wants, you ain't got to do a whole lot. And as far as keeping the house clean, you're gonna clean your house anyway. I ain't never went over a woman's house and it's just nasty. So you're gonna clean your house anyway. You're gonna do all that for yourself and wash clothes anyway. So don't take that out of the equation of being married. Those are things you're gonna perform for yourself. But
So
worry
she was
about
over
taking
there
keep
fucking you.
yeah, keep that bed warm. When you come home from work, you just tell hey, your mama send her to the bathroom. Your mama we clean the bathroom. Y'all mama go somewhere and do something. Send them outside and play like they used to. And don't call them in until the lights come on. That's how it used to be.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell my wife, go up there and keep that bed warm, baby. I'll be up there in a minute.
So I guess she was in there fucking you. You said you used to be exhausted.
I tired. Couldn't do nothing. You ain't doing nothing.
And
I
there you
couldn't change
have
the
it.
She had
tire.
to make you some food because you're too tired.
Uh,
There you have
I,
it.
I, uh,
The last old school African that spoke, goddamn it, he let you know how it is. Shit, how it's gonna be.
He needs some milk.
Hey,
Need
last
some milk.
African, to your point that you were talking about women not letting you leave the house hungry or horny. Overseas women have that mentality. A lot of traditional
mm,
overseas women will not let you leave that house full, if you know what I mean. They will not let you walk
mm,
out that house full at all. When I was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, I had a friend and she told me straight up, she's like, there is no way I can let you go out of here full and be around all these beautiful women. I can't take that chance.
Cause that's the first thing they're gonna do. Try to bring you in that little bird nest and get you in there and rock you to sleep, baby. They know how to do it now.
I
They know how
used
to
to
do
be
it.
like, cheaters are gonna cheat. Whoop de whoop. Have you ever listen? I always say it, and this is where I want women to come at this from, because women are like, oh, they act like it's such a burden and yada yada. Go ahead and drain your man. Like every dude that act like he can go every day, go ahead and keep that schedule on and drain his ass so he could be like, all right, chill. I'm good. I'm good. I have nothing left because that feeling when she's doing it just enough for you, like I
You
can't
don't even
even
be
pick up
trying
a
to
pencil,
smash every
damn.
day.
You
I be
be
at
you
work
being there
Yeah.
and
like
I'm
you
in
being there
like
like this,
10
trigger.
times.
Like I can't do it no more. I can't. I
Yeah,
ain't got nothing else left.
women look when you are drained properly, women become annoying to you.
Hmm.
When you
I don't
drain
even want to
properly.
listen to them talk. Like, look, what is it? Because
And
I
they
really
think
just
they
want
be
to
doing
scream.
something.
Women
Oh my
become
God.
irritable. It's funny. They all look like snacks when you ain't had no ass. Then when you're properly drained, they just annoying, conniving people. It's like, look, shoot. But I into Black Dragon. What you got, man?
All right, so having been in a marriage for a while and being divorced and all that, having the whole nuclear family thing, having had a traditional wife, now that we kind of know what a traditional wife is, um, yeah, so she was working, right? But part-time only. I'm a full-time worker. We're both, just pulling in income because it's a, two-person type of thing to try and make a kind of deal. But once our daughter got here, it was all about her. So, she took maternity leave and then she eventually just quit, stayed with her folks for a while so they can take care of the baby because she had a C-section and some medical stuff happened, and she has medical people in her family, so she's in better hands. But it never had a real. She gave up. She was willing to give up working just to have full time attention to our daughter. So she was more traditional in that sense, right? It was my career that was supposed to take off and lead us somewhere, but it just never did during that marriage. But yeah, but from what I see today, like let's just skip forward to 2023 and leave 2001 alone. Um, from what I'm seeing today, I'm seeing a lot of women use their career, or maybe in particularly Black women, using their career as a means of power, authority, and control. And they because I think that's how they see that's what they see it when it comes to men. Like if men are working, then we have power, authority, and control. But only when we're making a certain amount of money or making a certain living a certain kind of lifestyle. They're not really threatened by the McDonald's cashier. But so when we're talking about a real marriage, we're talking about an unending, an unyielding compromise between two people, because it's never going to be a healthy marriage. Is always going to be a discussion had about who's giving up what and why, right? That should have been the dating period. You should have a discussion, the boyfriend girlfriend thing, the we're living together thing, and then the marriage thing. It's always supposed to be a compromise, because in order for both of y'all to win, somebody's got to lose sometime. So, I mean, what we're seeing now is, with and particularly with women, is I don't need to lose anything. It's you that need to capitulate 100% to me. You need to have the house. You need to have the car. You need to have absolutely everything in order to just access for the chance to access one woman. She doesn't have to she doesn't have to fulfill any of those requirements other than maybe hygienic and aesthetics. You know, we have to come with a lot more than that. So when it comes to her having a career, no, it doesn't. It may add extra funds, but it doesn't add to the family, is what I'll say. If she's willing to sacrifice the career and we're willing to sacrifice on our end, like other options that we may entertain, all for the family, then I think that's going to be a more healthy like family unit. If you just kind of make that decision together that we're always going to compromise, because no one's ever going to always get their way. That's what I'd say.
Bet. Mr. Williams, how does her career interfere with her marriage?
I think her career interfered by her just working so much and not making time for her husband. Because if you ain't making time for your man, somebody else will. It's just that simple. Like, you know, the kids, like, it's different than the man. Like, not saying like forget the kids, but you know, like the man is somebody that you already gave your commitment to. So you can't expect for him to go without and for him to be there still 100%. And then, you know, he going to step out. He going to do something. It's either y'all gonna get a divorce or he gonna start cheating. And you gonna say it because, you know, like his move, his attitude gonna change toward you. Like he gonna fall back. So, you know, it's like he gonna be out of the whole marriage mentally. Like you ain't gonna get the same drive from him that he used to have when y'all first got together.
Mm-hmm. Moses, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, what you got on it? How does her career interfere with her marriage?
Career and marriage. Okay, so what I've been hearing so far, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Everybody said a lot of good points. I think, you know, if you have time, you put in your time in your career. I think her career has to be a balance. If you're gonna do that career, I mean, you can, but then it's like, who's gonna get more time, the job or your family, right? So I think it interferes a lot with the marriage. Sorry for the noise, the dogs. I think the serious question should be if she wants to take the family first over career, because back in the day that was the priority. Like I think Sparkle said, it was tradition values before the modern values. So yeah, that's pretty much though.
All right, Moses, I got a kind of a personal question.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking about it for days, but I gotta ask now.
Oh, please.
Have you ever been bit by one of the dogs? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, it's real.
Oh,
it's real.
I like every time you speak, the dogs start barking. I'm like, don't you tell me the dogs really be biting the mailman? Oh my!
No, they give us something to.
What kind of dogs you got?
Okay.
What kind of dogs you got, man?
We control these dogs.
No, he talking about on his route. The dog's on his route.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was just he'd be out there. Yeah, now they at the front door trying to get me.
No, listen,
don't worry.
Do you know why they're barking? You know why I believe him when he says it actually happens? Dogs are racist, man. Dogs
sure are. Sure are.
Dogs are racist. My dog live in a black household, and he only bark at black people.
You know what's funny? I didn't experiment. I saw a family walk by a dog, and I was walking by it too. So I said, "Let me walk by the dog." They was chasing me by the fence, right? I see the little dog. I see the family walk over there, stroller with the baby, man and woman with the baby. Dogs are now chasing. I'm like, wow, that is a thing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know that. Shout out to America.
That's so. It's
Even the dogs are racist.
It's so not true,
I
but
just wonder. I just
that's
wonder what
funny
they're
though.
actually saying when they're barking. Like, I wish you had like the thought bubble and be like,
They
Say,
saying,
yeah,
Yeah,
"You
get
that'd
better,
be
off my
crazy.
you
porch.
better bite this nigga." That's what they saying.
Get off my
So when I was in
Facts.
the Air Force, I was a military working dog handler. So basically a K9 unit. And when you go through the training, they actually tell you that like there's something with their eyes and their brain that doesn't like dark colors. It's something with the
They see
colors.
black and white. Yeah, they
Yeah,
see black
yeah.
and white.
It's something
Yeah,
it's that the way their retina is designed that dark colors tend to bring out aggression in them. So they would
yeah.
tell us as black handlers, like, hey, you're gonna get a different response from that dog than our white counterparts, where they wouldn't get the same response from the dog. And it was true. Like the dogs would be a lot more aggressive with us black handlers than they would be.
So you're saying
Yeah,
these dogs are biologically racist?
So those are
yes,
so
yes,
everybody in the chat,
Oh,
yes.
Yes, that's
everybody in the
exactly what you're
chat.
saying.
It just
That's
look.
what you're saying.
You owe me an apology. I told you. He said brain. It's they wired biologically.
Hey,
Yeah,
Like
let me
this.
also let me say.
it's
He
in
might
it's
want to
actually in
drop
the
down
book.
with
Like
somebody else
when
come
we
in.
go through the school,
I bet.
we have to
That
go through that.
Catch
We
you
have to
later.
go through this book. I mean, we have to learn about everything from the rooter to the tutor about a dog, and they actually
so
break it. They actually break it down to us, and they tell us it's in their retina, like their eyes, then whatever connects to their brain that they just don't like dark colors.
Hey,
so
listen,
Trey.
let me
So
throw this out there real quick. If
go
anybody
ahead.
wants to know what a
Wait, hold
dog
on.
is thinking of, if any,
You
I'm
gonna
gonna be finished. I'll be real quick. If anybody
you
wants to
ain't
know what a
never
dog
quit.
is
Go
thinking
ahead.
about, read the book Cujo. Cujo. Stephen King gave a voice to the dog in Cujo. It was absolutely eerie. It really was. I don't know if anybody read that book. It was fantastic. Anyway, that's enough. I'll go ahead, Moses.
So Trey. So basically, what you're saying is that the dogs are biologically racist, but it's ironic that you as a black man would have to throw on a white sheet to protect yourself from the dog. Is that what you're saying?
Hang on, hang
You
on,
see how
hang on.
God work? You see how God work?
I
Nobody.
mean, I wear blue. I wear blue, so
Because here's the thing. Like for instance, one year at my
Guys,
grandmother's
you
house, my
guys, you
grandmother. I don't
guys
know
have
if you guys
the
know
moral.
what
You
a
guys have
Lhasa
the
what a
moral of
Lhasa
what this.
Apso is, but a Lhasa Apso, it's a small dog, right? And one year, my female cousin, she's light skinned, but she wore all black. She had black shirt on, black jeans, and black boots. She wore that to Christmas or whatever. I think she was just trying to piss off my grandmother, but she wore it. That dog attacked her the entire night. The entire
So,
night he was after her, and I kept telling her because you're in all black.
Dogs
She's
are
wearing all black.
racist. That's so
so
funny.
Trey, so Trey, what you're basically saying is that black women shouldn't listen to Kevin Samuels. Don't go and buy that dog. Don't die alone. Is that what the moral of the story is?
Look. Kevin was trying to save y'all. He's trying to save y'all. He's trying to tell y'all go get a husband because it's safer than a dog. The dog don't
It's
like
safer
you.
than a
You're too
dog.
dark.
yeah, that's
That's
true.
right,
That dog
Trey.
will kill you
Yeah,
in your sleep. In
message.
fact, cats might be racist too, because don't they eat the cat lady after she died? Like if she died in a chair, they eat her remains.
you said she hit the
My
cat lady.
Oh
my
man, that's
father-in-law
funny.
owns a
Wow.
business like I don't know, what do you call it? Body disposal. Like after people die, he goes to get the body.
Dogs
Yeah, he
are
owns one of
racist.
those businesses and
That's so
says,
funny shit.
damn, he's like, I walked in to dispose of the body. The cats then took half the body of the cat lady. I was like, God, yuck.
The coroner or the morgue?
Oh, it has to be the coroner.
Mhm.
Whatever division or whatever unit goes to take the body, clean the area, all
It's
that
the
stuff.
coroner.
Coroner.
Well, in fact, I'm sorry, he's a private contractor. He doesn't work for the coroner's office.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't,
what
Man, the
I'm like.
cat
I don't
gotta
know
eat,
about
man.
There's
that.
a lot of money, but I don't see a lot of people doing that because they'll talk about some of the ones they really can't do, like a 9-year-old shooting a 3-year-old, and you got to go dispose of that body. Yeah, like he was like, okay, I got to go pray for a second. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's
So I get
disturbing.
that. All right, y'all. So
Oh,
You got a
on this
dog.
topic,
Oh, you got a dog right there.
on this topic, we're gonna start with wife school. Final thoughts. She wants the wedding, not the marriage. Final thoughts.
Ooh, she wants the wedding, not the marriage. I would say really, really think if you want to link up with that woman, because you don't want to be unsuccessful in your marriage. You don't want to get into it with and start bringing children into the world, and then everything is just like you're not making it a good foundation for them. So if she's all about the wedding and not really about understanding what marriage is really about, I would say back out of it.
Indeed. Great. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, this is always about communication, and you have to sit down and actually have a conversation with her, and actually, ask the hard questions, ask the tough questions, and to me, her past matters. You know what I mean? What has she done in the past? In the relationship she was in the past, was it about getting married or was it about having a really nice wedding? That's important. And I think a lot of the times for us men, Trigger Mike, you talked about this before. We're romantic, and I would add that we're hopelessly romantic. We want this to work out. As men, we want this to work out badly, and so we become blind to things, and we won't ask the hard questions. And sometimes we don't ask the hard questions because we don't really want the answers. We don't want the answer. We don't want the truth. And she tells us the truth, we're going to see her in a different light. But we have to ask these questions. And the last thing I'll say is your vetting process does not have a time limit. I was watching a panel the other night, and one of the ladies on the panel said the guy has 2 years, and I lost it. Like I just lost it. I was like, how dare you tell me how long it's going to take for me to vet you to find out if I want to spend the rest of my life with you? There's no way in the world you're going to tell me that I have 2 years. Take as much time as you need to ask the questions that you need to get the truthful and honest answers out of her to make your decision. That's my final thought.
Bet. King Spark, final thoughts.
Take away the weave, take away the eyelashes. Boot camp, boot camp, boot camp. Your veterans process should include an extensive, strenuous, mentally, physically challenging uh trials to get to that ring, brother. That's all I got.
Listen, the last two brothers said it all. I don't need to add anything to it. It's really the vetting process. If you don't get what you think you need, even though things might change, if you don't get what you need going in, you got to be willing to walk away. You just have to be willing to walk away. That's it for me.
All right, Sparkle.
I would say to the fellas, if you want a wife, find one with traditional values. You don't want a regular woman who's looking for a celebrity lifestyle. If it's all about, having big rocks and the status of marriage without the duty or responsibility of being a wife, avoid it like the plague. It ain't worth the headache for you. And ultimately, those are the women that will take off your stuff because they're not thinking as a wife be thinking. So my advice
Yeah.
would be ask her what her views are on spiritual, religious reasons, politics, meet the family, ask her what her views are on finances, and would she be willing to let your mother or your father move in with you in older years if they got sick? Those are the kind of questions you need to ask.
Damn, that's facts. And people don't even understand. They need that before they get sick. You all this complaining about help with the kids. Okay, we can have it if you and my mama get along, shit like that.
Yeah.
People don't know how to help themselves. Last African.
Hey, Ma, this girl said on her that I'm supposed to move out. I ain't supposed to stay at your house. And I know what y'all thinking. He still stay with his mama, and yeah, and some of y'all can't go to your mama house.
So
So there.
wait. This wasn't a
So
joke. This wasn't a joke.
this ain't no joke. I'm on the right back there in the back. I need
That's
$5
why
to go to the
your
store.
that's
Hey
why
Bob,
your
And I,
Wi-Fi
hey Bob,
and
big
I need
Bob.
$5.
it
Nah,
all makes
I'm
sense
joking.
now.
I'm
Okay.
joking.
That is so funny. It's all right.
But but straight up though, far as that thing go, I'm gonna say it like this. I remember this time, like this girl one time I was dating. You know, um, she was a half, I was a have not. Right? She was a little older than me. And it was one of my first experiences with with an older woman. And I'm just saying, as far as the connection between two people, right?
Mhm.
that woman, right? It depends on like the marriage and I said about the marriage. It's about the man and the woman being prepared. Like if that man is not lined up to be prepared with what this woman is doing, because I know a lot of women who are economically and just as far as you talking about getting money ahead of me, it's wasn't my thing, you know. Uh, but we got to align ourselves with where we are. I was more than happy to play my role in the relationship. If she was aggressive at getting money, that's fine too. But my position was never let nothing happen to her. So I think that if we play our roles, we'll conquer this disconnect that we got between. Because times change, and I guess people in relationships gonna have to change with it.
All right. EBD.
All right, I'd say yes, they want the wedding, but no, they don't want the marriage because, like I was saying before about compromise, but the requirements I mean, are not that high for to satisfy any man. We're easier to please and we're easier to get along with. It's just that you know, when we're caught slipping, we're held accountable, whether it be a bill, a light bill, a phone bill, propane, cable. We always have to be on our game. For a woman, for us, I mean, the one of the only things that we require is a sexual requirement. We need that affirmation as well. I mean, if we're not getting it at home, we'll get it somewhere else. I think we kind of not downplay or undervalue. We undervalue women, underestimate the sexual requirements of the men that they're dating or marrying. I think what they don't understand is that it is as necessary to us as food. Like if we're gonna say never leave the house hungry or horny, we're talking about satisfaction, a satisfaction requirement that needs to be met. Requirement though. A lot of women nowadays in these marriages thinks that it's just optional. Well, yeah, I had sex with them all in the honeymoon period, but 2, 3, 4, 5 years, he should be able to learn to live with it for about 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And that's just not how it's going to go. So there's a lot of communication and vetting that needs to happen, as far as not only friends and family and future, but the sex as well. You got to figure that problem out because that destroys a lot of marriages. It's either the lack of thereof, the cheating, the this and the that. Yeah, all of it kind of relates to that intimacy. You kind of lose that over time, and you need different ways and different engines to keep that up. So yeah, that's what I would say about that.
My man. Moses, take us out. Final thoughts.
Yeah, everybody, like, great final thoughts on this panel. I'll say it like this, keep it simple and short. Men, we have to choose at the end of the day for the wife we desire, who fits best that narrative. um, I think we really got to be patient and just make sure we vet, with the ladies out here that are presuming to be wife ready, right? And as a divorcee, I actually share this little part of myself, and I make it quick. I waited towards marriage, as a virgin, and I don't share to make myself look like the best person on the panel because I'm not. I'm humbly making sure that's being aware. But I think we got to understand women have to be vetted correctly. If we don't do it, we're going to be wasting our time and our resources on somebody that doesn't have the quality we're looking for. But I think men have to be patient, man, and just you have time, but don't waste too much time because everybody's trying to live life to do what they want. But I think Mike had a good point of making this show, and I agree with everybody. And I think this is a great show for this topic. And yeah, no, that's pretty much what I got to say. That's it.
All right, brother. I want to thank the panel today for coming out. All right. Appreciate y'all. Everybody, see you tomorrow on the Trigger Mike Show. Thank y'all for coming through. I want to thank the panel for their excellent dialogue today. Y'all make sure to hit that link. Click that button, that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Get those likes up. On your way out, please hit that button for the YouTube algorithm. Also, subscribe to the channel. If you want to show your support, we do appreciate that in the form of super chat. And you can send super thanks and all of that after if you like the broadcast as well. Also, hit the Lapeef Experience channel. We have other programs going on that channel. Great programs. Nothing going on tonight, but make sure you hit that broadcast when you can. Also, please check out my personal channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm usually doing shorts and other content that are usually the topics for what you hear on the Trigger Mike Show here. My handle is youtube.com at Trigger Mike Show. So just type in Trigger Mike Show in the YouTube box. Hit me with a subscribe, help me get monetized so I can give you more great content. But you can catch the Trigger Mike Show weekday mornings here on the Lapeef Network, the greatest network on YouTube. We appreciate y'all today. Tomorrow, we're going to do an excellent topic, and I need y'all to be here for this one. Tomorrow is the truth about 50-50 for people who are together actually doing it. If you in a relationship or a marriage actually doing it, actually being with your person, both of you are working, what does this thing that people keep talking about, which when they say 50-50, we're going to get to the bottom of it tomorrow. I want y'all to be present. Mark your calendar. I'm watching the Trigger Mike Show tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central. He's going to talk about the truth about 50-50 and how we need to debunk some myths around here. All right, y'all be good. Enjoy the rest of your day. We had a great topic for you, great panel this morning. I'm out. See you tomorrow.